Two, no one. We are recording, everyone. And as you can see, I live in a blue world today because that's what migraines and herniated discs and pains in your head and voices in your head. This is what happens.
I'm blue, dabba dee down, dabba dee dabba down, dabba dee I'm sorry, I don't think that song actually has lyrics. I think it's just sounds.
I think it's probably just sounds.
I think it has to be. I mean, I think if you were to like do a Google search for like, lyrics to Blue, it's like all you would get is like a response back saying, "Dude, there aren't any."
Hence, when you go on Spotify and you play that song, when you look for the lyrics tab, it's grayed out.
Yeah.
But welcome, everyone. We are going to watch WrestleMania 3.
Yes, WrestleMania 3 with the tagline bigger, better, badder, which of course will also be the tagline for World War 3. Not the old WCW pay-per-view World War 3. I mean World War 3.
Well, let's hope we don't get to that point. But
We're getting closer every day.
I know we are. Um, but yes, we are
Which
going
I
to.
mean, well, to be fair, to say we're getting closer to World War 3 every day, just assuming that eventually there will be a World War 3, then yes, every day we do get closer to it.
Very true. Very true.
Just like
WrestleMania.
just like every day we live, we get one day closer to death.
Mm, I know. I look forward to meeting the Grim Reaper 50
Think
years
about it.
from now.
Think about it. You start dying the moment you're born.
I know. Such a weird
Life
thing that life is.
is full of horribleness.
Well, we're getting off to a great start here.
Okay, now that we've gone to the macabre,
Yes, WrestleMania 3 with 12 matches at the Pontiac Silverdome.
at the Pontiac Superdome.
Silverdome.
Superdome.
Superdome. Yeah, Silverdome,
Uh,
Superdome. Whatever you want to call it.
yeah, for those of you who don't realize what we're doing there, it's like when, they did WrestleMania.
Just had our champ's shoulders on.
Stop the volume. WrestleMania, what was it, 30?
I think so. One
At
of
this
them.
at the Superdome when like they opened the show with Hogan, Austin, and Rock, and Hogan called it the Silver Dome.
Yes.
Dude, I'm having flashbacks, brother. Where's Andre? I gotta slam him.
Yes, those fun times.
Yeah. So, but before we get started on WrestleMania 3, I want to amend a couple of little factoids I was dropping last week when we were talking about WrestleMania 2, because I got a few things wrong and a few things I just wanted to give some more explanation for. It'll just take a second. So, WrestleMania 2, of course, is most notable for running in three different cities, in New York, Rosemont, suburb of Chicago, and Los Angeles. And again, technically not New York, Long Island. But one of the reasons you can say was like, well, Vince was like, well, how do I top WrestleMania, pal? Um, One of the other reasons, almost definitely, that they also ran WrestleMania 3 in two cities, or WrestleMania 2 in three cities.
Course correction.
NWA had done Starrcade 85 in two cities.
Oh, yeah, see, I forgot about that too.
Yeah, well, most people do, because in the annals of Starrcade, I don't think Starrcade 85 is considered like one of like the top tier Starrcades. But they ran that back and forth, and they went back and forth because I have watched that show between Greensboro, where they had done the first two Starrcades, and Atlanta. So
Mm.
it was an interesting thing. They literally went, they had 12 matches on that card, and they literally went back and forth. They went Greensboro, Atlanta, Greensboro, Atlanta, Greensboro, Atlanta. So like Greensboro, the main match they got to see, um, well, the one that everybody remembers is the I Quit steel cage match for the US title between Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard.
Okay.
But like the main event match at the Greensboro event was the Rock and Roll Express against the Koloffs for the NWA tag titles.
Hmm.
And the main event at the Omni was Dusty and Flair for the NWA title, which Dusty won by DQ because, of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, what happened was Tommy Young, who was the referee for the match, got knocked out, and a replacement referee came down and counted the pin. Tommy Young later reversed the decision and awarded Rose a victory by DQ because Arn Anderson interfered during the match. And then so it was, but I think, I don't know, I can't remember now because it's been a while, like I said, since I've watched that show. I can't remember if, yeah, I don't think they did the whole like dusty finish, as it was
Mm.
come to be called.
Yeah.
I don't think they revealed that until later. So, like, if you watch that show, you went home thinking Dusty was the champion.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's really, but of course, Crockett had a pretty good 86. I mean, 86 is when the Four Horsemen started and everything. Um, it's kind of amazing that they did shit like that and they got away with it for so long. I mean, eventually it did catch up with them, but even then, I think that would have just pissed me off to no end if I was like, watching that and then seeing, you know, yeah, Dusty's a champion, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like a couple weeks later on TV, find out what?
He's not? Are you serious?
Yeah. So
What in the blue fucking hell is that shit about?
yeah, but anyway, so that was definitely why Mania 2 was in three cities. We'll do one better than them, yeah.
We'll give you three.
The Paul Orndorff Don Morocco match for that opened WrestleMania 2, which was pretty disappointing. Now, I didn't like pick up on it when we were as the show was going on and they were showing the highlights of when Morocco helped Bundy squash Hogan on Saturday night's main event before
Hmm.
WrestleMania 2. So Orndorff was fighting Morocco, obviously because Orndorff was Hogan's friend at that point. So he's fighting for Hogan's honor. So that should have been a really compelling match based on that alone. And so the fact that they had such a short match with such a bullshit finish really, makes the team even worse in comparison. Oh, and I got this too from watching rewatching the review of WrestleMania 2 from the Wrestling with Regret channel, Brian Zane. Um, he said this was cut from Peacock. I'm sure it was also cut from the Netflix version that we watched last week, though I wasn't really paying attention. At one point, Orndorff made slant eyes at Mr. Fuji. Do you remember seeing that when we were
No, I don't
watching it
remember
last week?
seeing
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say I had a feeling that was also cut from Netflix if they cut it from Peacock. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I didn't
not
see that.
not a great look, literally. So
Yeah,
one reason why the Velvet McIntyre Fabulous Moolah match went so short is Velvet had a wardrobe malfunction. Like when she did the splash, like her bra strap broke. I didn't pick up on that when we were
yeah,
watching.
I didn't really pick up on that either.
So that's why but that's probably why the match was so short that they had to say like, oh shit, we can't risk anything. Another interesting thing I found out about that was Velvet McIntyre was working shows in the Middle East at the time when she got called and said, "Hey, we want you to work WrestleMania 2 with Moolah." And she was pissed because she didn't want to work with Moolah.
Not a lot of people did.
Yeah, yeah. So she probably thought it was like a no-win situation, and it kind of tr proved out to be. Now, maybe as like an apology to her, they did let her beat Moolah for the women's title later that year in 1986,
Yeah, but then she lost it back to her, right?
and she lost it back to Moolah in less than a week.
Yeah,
So,
less than a week. What a joke.
so thanks, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, and then two quick things about the main event. When I said I couldn't tell if Bundy bladed or not, in rewatching again Brian Zane's review of the show, it was pretty obvious that yes, Bundy did blade. So it
Oh
wasn't,
yeah, I missed it.
yeah. And I made a big mistake. And the funny thing is, I think I said my mistake because remember I was going over the list of all the steel cage matches they've ever done on pay-per-view,
Yes.
and I said this was the one and only they ever did at WrestleMania. Well, funny thing, I would have listed one that they did do at a subsequent WrestleMania and it didn't even click in my
Click.
brain that I was saying, oh, this was at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 37, night one, they did a steel cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. Yeah. I don't remember anything about that match either.
No, I know I don't remember shit about that match.
I mean, that was a pretty eventful WrestleMania because remember that was the first post-pandemic show or post-lockdown show, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
And so they did it in Tampa where they were supposed to have done WrestleMania 36. And of course, what everybody remembers is like the rain delaying the night, Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan in pirate costumes, with Titus looking very uncomfortable standing next to the noted racist Hulk Hogan. And, again, I think it was also more better known for, you had the triple threat match that closed night two between Roman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan, which a lot of people liked. You had Bianca and Sasha closing night one, which
yeah.
I think which a lot of people liked. Um, so yeah. But I just was like, when I went back and realized that, I was like, wait a minute, I would have said that match. I know I said a cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane, and it didn't even occur to me when I was saying it was at WrestleMania 37 night one. So,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
bad. Hey,
Oh well,
hey,
it
we
was one of
all,
two.
yeah, hey, we all make mistakes, including
Indeed.
me, except I don't make mistakes. That was all Joe's fault, clearly.
Okay. Yep. Blaming it on the old guy. I know. That's what I'm here for.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. In our little duo here, you are the old guy.
Yes.
I'm just a babe in the womb next to you.
Okay. Slow your roll on that one.
Okay, now that I've made us all uncomfortable,
WrestleMania 3, the 93,000 fans packed in the Pontiac Silverdome.
93,000 fans, asterisk.
Yes, there's always an asterisk.
Well, I mean, again, that's one of the big things about this one is like the disputed attendance, figure. I mean, 93,173 sounds great. It just does, you know. So I mean, I think Meltzer has probably tried to dispute that. I think he's been the one that I've seen that's kind of most vociferous in disputing that, but he would also probably have the best information to dispute that. I will give him that. I won't say that he's like doing it out of spite. I don't think so. Um, but
Hopefully.
there's also a difference between like paid attendance and actual attendance because there were comp tickets and
Mhm.
shit like that. So um, it's hard to say again exactly how much. Or like how many people were in there. I mean, again, because like 78,000 seems to be the number that people think it actually was, which is a substantial difference from 93,173. But yeah,
Yeah, no, very true.
yeah.
But I means that's where we're at. So,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And we are at a building that no longer exists, sadly,
yes.
because all things must pass. When did they
Yes.
implode the Silver Dome?
Oh God. I don't remember.
Between December 2017 and March 2018. Okay. It's been that long already. And of course, it hadn't been used for several years prior to that because Ford Field's been open for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yep, it definitely was. All right. So we got 12 glorious matches.
12 glorious matches, and this, of course, has always been one of the better received WrestleManias. Um,
Even though two of these matches, only two matches go over 10 minutes.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, this I think also, I mean, maybe we'll get a better idea as we are rewatching this and everything, but maybe gives you a better idea that you don't need every match to be a 20-minute long match. Pony, in order for it to be good. But we'll see. We'll
We'll
get a
see.
better idea.
So,
But yeah, you're right. Only 2-minute matches go more than 10 minutes, and only like was it one, two, three, four? Only four other matches go more than 6 minutes. So,
and there's four matches under 5 minutes.
one, two, three, yeah, yeah, yep.
So we'll see how this goes. It's been a while. This is probably the most rewatched WrestleMania that I've ever watched. as you know, we watch the most, I should say. I wouldn't
Yeah,
get lost
that's
there.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I watched this at least twice that I can think of. See, I don't know if I've ever really how many WrestleManias I ever have really rewatched start to finish. Um, especially once like the DVD era and then especially the network era, started. I think if I ever went back and rewatched, stuff from WrestleMania, I was watching unless it was like a show I hadn't seen at all. So that's
Yeah.
not a rewatch, then that's a watch. If I ever back and rewatch stuff, I was watching like, oh, let me go watch that match, or let me go watch that match, or let me go watch
Mm,
that. I ever wasn't ever rewatching the whole show start to finish too much.
yeah,
So
I got you. Understood. I get you. I get you. All right.
WrestleMania 17, I think, would be one that I probably have rewatched. I mean, I did just rewatch the whole thing a few weeks ago when following the Reliving the War series, because that was like the culmination of that. So WrestleMania 17, I know I've definitely rewatched start to finish a couple times.
Gotcha.
And of course, a lot of people pick that as one of the best WrestleManias of all time. So
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one or so many other ones. So, oof, God.
WrestleMania 17, I know we're going off on tangents here. WrestleMania 17 to me is a little like the run of Seinfeld. It's great, and the ending really leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Mm, yeah.
Like this to me, like the Seinfeld finale is a lot like Austin turning heel and aligning with Vince at the end of the title match at WrestleMania 17. It kind of makes me go, that really brings everything else down a little.
Yeah. See where you're going with that. Yeah. True. True. Very true. All right. Here we go.
All
Where are
right.
you at?
I just hit play, so intro music playing, big three logo. Ooh, 1980s graphics, a floating M. Now it says WrestleMania Trace, trademark. And now we're getting the shot of the crowd.
I honestly, I could really see that legitimately being 93,000
That's
people.
what it is. I mean, that is a great shot of that arena, of that stadium.
Like if you look at that specific shot and just pause it, like
That's
the upper decks are basically full. The
right.
mid-level is full. The
Right.
lower section is full. And
Yeah.
then you have all the seats on the floor. And
And
they could have
welcome
probably
to
packed in more
WrestleMania
seats.
3.
They could have probably packed in more seats, but at the end of the day, like, and there's still fans coming in because,
Well, yep, that's something I wanted to mention right off the bat here. So there's been talk right now, of course, as Vince is talking here, about how like they're banning. I can't remember if I saw that they decided to lift it or not, as he's cutting over to Aretha Franklin now. Is that where you're
yep.
at? Okay.
Yep.
So I have two fascinating things to say right here off the bat about both the show itself and Aretha Franklin. But anyway, there was the whole controversy that came a couple weeks ago when they said TKO was going to be banning watch parties within like 50 miles of Vegas for this year's WrestleMania. Like so, like like in public places, like in bars and restaurants and shit. I can't remember if they've gone back on that now, but anyway,
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
yeah, I'll look it up then as we're going along.
That's so stupid, man.
So
You're
one of the
costing
reasons,
you're costing businesses money. But anyway, let's
yeah, yeah. So
go on.
one of the reasons why possibly the stadium was so jam-packed. Vince blocked out pay-per-view access in the state of Michigan for the show.
Did he really?
Yep. And it wasn't a new thing, as What Culture's article about this says, because they said, in like Indianapolis, the Indy 500 would always black out the race in the state of Indiana to try to make sure people came to the race. But yeah, if you were anywhere in Michigan, you could not watch the show on pay-per-view. The only way you could do it is if you drove to the Silverdome and bought a ticket. And it says McMahon's plan seemed to work as traffic was gridlocked as far as the eye could see, jam-packed with cars full of revelers desperate to see if the Hulkster could vanquish the eighth wonder of the world. And on that note, Aretha Franklin was stuck in traffic on the way to the show. She arrived late because of the traffic jam, but she made it in the nick of time and performs America the Beautiful here without a sound check, which is like almost unheard of for when you're doing live music.
Yes, yes, it is.
And it also further ties into the urban legend is the reason why Mean Gene sang the national anthem at WrestleMania 1 is because somebody else backed out at the last minute. Who
Hmm,
that person might have been has never been hinted at, though.
interesting.
And think about it, they got Ray Charles for WrestleMania 2, and they had Aretha Franklin here for this one. So it wasn't like they couldn't attract big names, you know.
No, no, they were doing good with that aspect.
Yeah. Though it's also very much conceivable as to why they would have gotten, they might have had a harder time to get a big name for WrestleMania 1 because people might have still been like, oh, I don't know. And
Oh yeah, not really sure if they wanted to put their name attached to something that might fail.
right. Now, the irony, of course, is that Cyndi Lauper is at WrestleMania 1, and it's like, well, why didn't she just sing it and everything? It's like, well, she was too involved in the match, you know.
Yeah, I guess. It's funny
Now,
them showing these clips of like different aspects of America back then, you know?
oh yes, they're showing. Well, they're showing the things that you think of when you think of, you know, what America is, or what America, or like this like illusion. I think that we always sold ourselves on what America is. Blue collar work and middle class values and all this and that. Shit that doesn't exist anymore because we outsourced everything to in the sake of corporate profits. So.
I mean, look at that 300 section. That was showing
I
like
mean,
that.
yeah, it is
It's
jam-packed.
full.
Yeah. And think about it again, and obviously there's no comparison because of the size of the buildings alone, but remember last week when we were watching two and they cut to LA, and remember you noticed it right away, and Brian Zane mentioned it on his review too. Like, look how empty it looked there.
Yeah.
It was so horrible. And it's like, and this is the other reason why you can say why Vince liked running this show in like as big a stadium as he possibly could. It looks fucking great.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, look at the crowd around the fucking ring itself.
yeah.
Like it's you can't that's that you just can't compare that. Like we've never seen a WrestleMania since then that's had like that aura, that look.
Yep. And now we cut to Gorilla and Jesse. Jesse wearing a much less ornate costume than he did at WrestleMania 2, and here with Bob Uecker and Mary Hart.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Cosmo Kramer is not listening to this show. Since I've made one Seinfeld reference already, I'll make another
Well,
one.
I tell you, Gorilla.
I'm pumped up. I'm ready for WrestleMania 3. I'm ready for Predator to come out. I'm ready for Hulk Hogan to stab me in the back. Oh, wait a minute, that already happened. At least I think that already had happened by this point. Mary Hart saying she's always wanted to be in the broadcast booth with the body, the gorilla, and the uke.
Yeah.
I don't see a ukulele.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Match one.
Opening match, a very interesting tag team match here between Proto Strike Force and two random guys who are both managed by Mr. Fuji for some reason.
The Can-Am connection.
Yep.
Always like those
469
guys.
pounds. Definitely light for a tag team back then, though probably heavy for a tag team today.
Probably.
Now you can see why they would have paired these two guys up. They're very similar in look, they're very similar in build.
Hmm.
Rick Martel and Tom Zank. The sinister Mr. Fuji.
Not Don, the Magnificent.
Well, the ace. Orton looking a little pudgy here.
Yeah, yeah.
He's definitely heavier than he was at WrestleMania 2. History will be made here this afternoon. I always love when Gorilla would say that.
Yeah. My pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, they're saying they haven't seen each other for a while. I'm guessing that is a reference to Ventura was probably off filming Predator, so
Oh, yeah, yeah, probably.
because Predator came out in '87. Yeah, now when I say it's like two random guys managed by Mr. Fuji, now obviously Morocco had been managed by Fuji for a while, but I can't remember or understood why Orton was being managed by Fuji. I'm also wondering why Morocco's got his left leg taped up pretty tight there.
Probably got a quad injury.
Yeah, because it's up around his upper thigh, you know. So, um, this is kind of interesting because Morocco, of course, by the end of this year would turn babyface. You know, he was on Hogan's team at the inaugural Survivor Series later that year.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Orton, I think, pretty much left the company sometime in '87. And then I called the Can-Am Connection Proto Strike Force. That's because Tom Zink flaked out and left the company. Oh, Martel with that nice like yeah, Martel doing a lot of really great athletic moves. See, this is why it always kind of was surprising when they turned him heel and he became the model because he did like so many like acrobatic and like high flying type stuff that it's like you couldn't imagine him as not being a babyface. But they
I
found
know, I know.
but they found a way to do it.
I actually liked him as a heel though.
Well, no, he was great as the model. Oh, that was a great combination move right there.
Yeah, it was.
So again, you can see how Martel and Zank could have really worked together. But yeah, so Tom Zank kind of flaked out and he left the company and he kind of left Martel hanging, and that's why they put Peritito with Martel and created Strike Force, was because Zank had left. So that's why I said they were Proto Strike Force. But and there's been a lot of dispute as to why Zank left. Martel has said that Zank wasn't like mentally prepared to for like really like being on the road as much as the WWF schedule required, and just like wasn't handling it very well. And Martel, of course, by this point had been around for a while. He had worked in the WWF in the early '80s. He had been tag champions with Tony Gurria. He had been AWA world champion for a while prior to this. So that's also kind of the interesting. It's like former AWA champion Rick Martel now working an opening tag match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's very possible he was getting paid better to do this though than he was when he was AWA champion because Vern wasn't great with the payouts. But
No, no, absolutely.
um, but there's also been a story that I think Zank said before he passed away. Um, he thought Martel had negotiated a deal to get paid more than he was, and he resented that. Martel, I think, has denied that. Um, oh, Morocco coming to the ring for no reason, not really being admonished by, I believe that's Joey Morella, Gorilla's son in the ring refereeing.
I think
He,
so.
he sadly passed away in the mid 90s in a car accident, which supposedly greatly affected Gorilla the rest of his life. Which, hey, understandable, you lose a kid.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Um,
This is a good
yeah,
match.
I mean, it is. It's moving quickly. It's moving back and forth. I love Morocco hanging onto the tag rope and Zank's doing the same thing. Those are things that, of course, got lost in time.
Yeah, they just slap each other on the backs now to tag themselves in, not
I
no
know
hand-to-hand stuff.
the blind tag thing is really has really aggravated me.
I've always thought it'd be to be I'm not a fan of it.
It's like if you use it once or twice, I can understand, but it's like, you have somebody like Cornette go like, God damn, that's not the goddamn rules. Oh, the knee to the back from the outside by Orton. Great move. It was interesting. Jesse was also just complimenting the faces, saying like the Can-Am Connection was making better tags and keeping things in their advantage better. So Orton conspicuously not wearing a cast.
Yeah. Doesn't need it right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I can feel that way. It wasn't all the way up here, Gorilla.
Yeah. And that's a really great shot actually from behind them and when the booth, so you can see what they're actually seeing as far as like the ring. So that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. That was a cool shot.
Because I don't think they really typically did that a lot at like the big stadium shows like this. And of course now they're always at ringside. So oh, Morocco doing the flare going into the turnbuckle.
Oh, the rope flipping.
Oh, that's another move that I wish they would bring back.
Yeah.
But no, it's not cool to be propelled back into the ring. You got to be able to jump over it. Whoa! Morocco backdrops his partner because reasons. Double drop kick on it. Oh, he's out of the Royal Rumble. I don't know who the legal men are anymore. Yeah, Jesse. Crossbody for Martel, and that's it.
What a match.
Really good opener. Again, very, very brief, like you said. I mean, that only went 5 minutes, 37 seconds, according to Wikipedia, but you know, that's the kind of match you want to open a show like this.
That was a good opening match.
Oh yeah,
I liked
definitely.
it.
Yeah. Well, let me find the ratings
Oh yeah.
because you know we gotta just reference those for fun. And now we're standing around in the ring, and the losers are standing around the ring to have Finkel announce the winner officially, even though we know who won the match. For these two youngsters, Rick Martel and Tom Zank. Let's see. Rick Martel at the time of this match was 31,
Wow, really?
and Tom Zank would have been 28
Huh.
because he had not yet hit his 29th birthday. So I guess, but you know, the reason why I'm saying that is because when Carlos Colon made a one-off appearance in the 1993 Royal Rumble, Monsoon referred to him as a youngster. And let's see, in 1993, Carlos Colon was 45.
Yeah, he was a youngster, all
You
right.
know, so oh, Billy Jack Haynes. If you saw the dark side of the ring about him, you got a lot.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Now, these are two guys that, again, you can see why they would pair them with each other. Their physiques are very similar. I mean, shit, their looks are very similar. They both got almost the same hairstyle and the full beard and everything.
Yeah.
But the thing here with like this was like the battle of the full Nelsons. They kind of recycled the storyline a lot a few years later when British Bulldog was feuding with the Warlord.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Just that Bulldog wasn't also trying to full Nelson Warlord. It was all about could Davy Boy break out of Warlord's full Nelson. It's Billy Jerk Haynes. Hey, you know what? Once again, Heenan was telling us the truth. Hercules's hair is a little shorter than it had been at WrestleMania 2, which I think was for the best. His hair was a bit too bushy at WrestleMania 2.
Yeah. Get it right. It's Billy Jerk Haynes.
For the record, it is Billy Jack Haynes Heenan. 6-1.
I always thought this was cool. The thing coming to them
The,
coming
the
to
the
the
ring
ring and
cards,
the
yeah, yeah. See, Billy Jack Haynes wearing that hat that he always wore, and then wearing that jacket is a bit of a contradiction. You know, he's supposed to be like the rough and tumble type guy, and that's what I thought the hat was always signified. It was like it was always supposed to give him kind of like a Western feel, but he's wearing this very glittery, very sparkly gold jacket. Which what does it say? It says Oregon something, I think.
yeah, it does. It's
Because I
interesting.
mean, yeah, Billy Jack had been one of the top stars in Pacific Northwest wrestling, which was based mostly in Portland. Um, yeah, they have the two carts going past each other then too. I don't think I would have wanted to have been driving one of those things though, because again, you're in the back, the cart's in front of you. You make like one fuck up with the direction you're going. God only knows what you'd run into.
I mean, true. It's cool though.
Yeah. No, it is. I think the only other time that they used these things was at WrestleMania 6.
Did they?
Yeah, they did use them at WrestleMania 6.
I don't remember.
Because they couldn't use them at WrestleMania 4 and 5, which was at the not Trump Tower, Trump Plaza. You know, that wasn't the actual name of the place. Because those had like the stairs and everything, so they couldn't use the carts obviously there.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 7, there was no need because they were in the LA Sports Arena. They could have probably used them at WrestleMania 8 in the Hoosier Dome, but they chose not to. So Maybe any. Oh, you know why they probably didn't? Because that runway wasn't completely straight. It had a bend in it.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And then WrestleMania 9 was at that makeshift little setup at Caesar's Palace. So it was outside. And WrestleMania 10 was in the garden. And obviously the runway was pretty short there in the garden.
You know what else I noticed from this one is the camera work is different from the first two.
Oh yeah, I think their
Like,
production had evolved, definitely.
and the thing about it is like just the angles where, like the angle right now where they're locking up now and they're in the corner. But
Yeah.
like just before that, like they're locked up and all you see is the crowd, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
And some of the other angles they do where they're kind of showing the wrestlers, but you can see all the crowd.
Yeah.
It just makes it like really like it makes it look big. Like this is a big fucking event.
Yeah. And that's Dave Hebner refereeing this match, not Earl. Earl, of course, would not debut until the Twin Magic at the main event in 1988. Yes, I did just make a Bellas reference because we know we're getting a significant match with the Bellas at WrestleMania coming
Oh
up.
God,
We
I
announced
know.
it. After what happened on SmackDown Friday night, I think we're going to get a four-way for the women's tag belts.
Yep, we are. When I read the results for SmackDown, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is what they did?
Yeah, I mean, that had been rumored even before they did all that. So, I mean,
There's just a couple
I,
things they did on SmackDown I questioned, but it is what it is.
I
I
don't
don't
have a
run the
huge,
show.
yeah, I don't have a huge problem with them doing this women's four-way. I mean, of course, I'd rather the Bellas not be involved, but
If
this
the
is,
Bellas win, oh,
oh, that'll be the worst thing ever.
I'm gonna have some
The four teams who will be involved in that match, the Bellas winning is by far the worst thing. So that's what will
yes.
happen. Oh, Billy Jack
Sorry,
going to the
Bellas
corner.
fans, but
Hercules slammed him with that clothesline. Oh, I will also give Billy Jack this. He's wearing like, like yellow and green or gold and green, however you want to call it,
Oregon
which,
colors.
yeah, they are the Oregon colors. And his tights and his boots say Oregon. So that's cool. That is kind of cool. Though, if I think Pacific Northwest Wrestling was still a thing at this point in 1987, you can almost say, yeah, here's the guy who fucked us over by going to Vince.
I mean, there was a
It's
lot
like,
of those guys.
I was going to say, yeah, if you're going to be salty about that, then call Jim Crockett, call Vern Gagne, call Fritz Von Erich, call Bill Watts.
Yeah.
All the guys who lost guys to Vince in the mid 80s, you know? Call Ole Anderson, you know.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, it's like the camera work and everything at WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 2 was still very indicative of what I think in a lot of like modern day docs, Triple H is always kind of derisively referred to as the smoke-filled bar rooms, and like it had that
Yeah.
look still, but they had definitely evolved it by this. And now a lot of that's probably also the building, but you can tell, of course, the camera angles are different. They had
Yep.
just evolved the way that they were broadcasted.
Oh, absolutely.
And see, that was the thing that again, it's one of the many reasons why Vince was able to beat everybody. He put the money into improving that stuff. You
Yeah,
can't
he
deny,
did.
you can't deny that, and you also can't criticize him for that.
Nope, we can't.
These guys just going back and forth a lot of power moves as you would expect, because I mean, look at their physiques. I mean, look, this is probably the most ripped I can ever recall seeing Hercules, because he started losing the definition in the abs as the years went on after this. He still had an impressive physique, but he is like looking like really fucking ripped here.
Probably went more towards like the powerlifting shit where you don't have to worry about the abs as much.
Yeah, Billy Jack is a little more doughy around the middle, like he's not as defined. But again, he's got the chest, he's got the arms. I always thought Hercules threw a good punch.
Oh, he does.
Like his punches looked like he was like really punching you. So, oof, big press slam where he's got grab the guy's tights and practically give him a wedgie.
I saw some ass cheeks there.
Yeah, really. Oh, I forgot the star ratings. Damn it. And again, I'm pulling up both sites to make sure there's no disagreements because of the stuff we talked about last week. Wait, was he tapping?
Flippity tap. Oh my God.
That's the whole thing about like, in order to really have the full Nelson locked in, you had to get the fingers locked, and you can tell that he doesn't, but you can also tell he's not trying to because he's more trying to just like have a hold of his hair. Anyway, both of the sites where I've gone to for Meltzer star ratings agree that Can-Am connection against Morocco Norton, 2.5 stars. I think it was worthy of three.
I'll give it a three. I was gonna give it a three anyway. I thought it was a good match.
I wouldn't be surprised again, not having like a write-up for why he gave it these ratings, just seeing the rating itself. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked it down because it was short.
I mean, okay, I guess, but you can't. It's hard with that because you're not the ones saying how long they have to go. You know what I mean?
Right. And well, see, that's the thing that I think always kind of pissed me off about Meltzer too. I feel like he always judged WWF stuff by like New Japan standards or by Mid-South standards or JCP standards. And it's like you really can't do that. You really can't necessarily judge it on that curve. I think you have to kind of say, what were they going for? What were they trying to do? It's kind of like what Roger Ebert said about reviewing movies. Don't review a movie or critique a movie based upon what it is not trying to do.
Yeah,
Base it upon what it's trying to do,
yeah, definitely.
which is something that I think Ebert also himself broke a couple times. There were a couple of movies I can remember he reviewed it and he said something that I was like, that's not what they were going for, though. Well, there's a movie that I'm sure nobody remembers now, and it's a movie that I've never seen. It was called Eye for an Eye that starred Sally Field, Ed Harris, and Kiefer Sutherland.
I've
Kiefer
seen it
Sutherland.
once.
I've never actually seen it. Kiefer Sutherland kills Sally Field's daughter and gets off. And she spends like the rest of the movie, I guess, trying to kill him or think about ways to like kill him or something like that. And Ed Harris is her husband. Well, that came out not long after Dead Man Walking, which of course was a whole thing about is the death penalty moral, and Susan Sarandon won Best Actress for it and everything. And I remember on Siskel and Ebert's show, they showed like one brief clip from the movie where Sally Field asked Ed Harris if he believes in the death penalty, and he says like I'm not sure, and like that's it. That's the only time they ever talk about the death penalty in the whole movie. And Ebert was critiquing it because of that, and I'm like, aren't you critiquing it because there was just another movie that was explicitly about the death penalty? And it's like,
Yeah,
aren't you breaking your own rule here?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
they
definitely
both
was on
tumbled to
that.
the outside as Billy Jack had Herc in the full Nelson. Now he's still got him in the full Nelson. Did he just spit on him?
Yeah.
And now they've both been counted out. And now, Heenan with a kick to the back. And of course, Billy Jack knows selling it as one does because it's a manager attacking you.
Yep, you don't sell it when a manager does it.
They're still using the old wooden steps there. They don't have the corner steel steps yet. Ventura didn't see it, of course.
Of course you didn't.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, so Bobby, of course, was leading Billy Jack right back into Herc's clutches, but no, Billy Jack turned and went back the other way. Finally, a face with some smarts, but now, of course, he's arguing with the ref, and here comes Herc with the chain. Boom! Oh, that was a shot. Oh, wait a minute. Yep. Wait. Yep. Oh, there it is. There's the blade.
Yep.
Yeah, he's bleeding pretty good. You can already see it on the mat.
Yeah.
So,
Gotta warn him with those heavy fines.
so this is the kind of match that it's like the crowd's kind of dead right now because I think they're upset over a double count
Yeah,
out.
they're booing right now.
Well, they could say they're booing Hurt because he just went full
Yeah.
heel, busted him open, blah blah blah. But Billy Jack's selling this really well. He's got that like 1,000-yard stare look on his face there, and now Hurt puts him the full Nelson and locks the fingers. Yeah, So obviously this was meant like the post-match shit was to keep the heat because they weren't done with these guys.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how much longer Billy Jack stayed in the company. So nothing much more ever came of this. And Hercules, you know what the thing was with Hercules when he was a heel with Heenan? He never really seemed to have programs. He just was always like there.
Yeah.
Like this was obviously a program between him and Billy Jack because they had the video package ahead of time and everything. But um I really feel like until they turned Hercules face about a year and a half after this in the lead up to the Survivor Series where Heenan sold him to DiBiase and Hercules was like, I'm now slave, you know.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I really feel like Hercules never really had programs.
No.
That match went 744.
He was always just there and just put into matches with other big guys or
Yeah.
somebody to squash them to make a point or
Yep.
just as he turned around. Wow.
Okay, here we go. According to Wikipedia, again, because it's just easy and convenient to use. In the months to follow, the two, meaning Haynes and Hercules, had a series of chain matches where they were attached at the wrist by a foot-long chain, which could also be used as a weapon during the match. Haynes later teamed with fellow Oregon native Ken Patera, who had returned to the WWF. Haynes saved Patera from a beating at the hands of Hercules and Harley Race after Patera's return match. The pair later feuded with Demolition after a television match where Demolition left Haynes, Patera, and Brady Boone, who played Haynes' cousin, beaten and lying in the ring. But then he left the company in January of '88.
Hmm. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, this match is going to be significant for a few reasons.
This is hilarious. Little
Remember, last
Bundy.
year he was in the main event in a steel cage against Hulk Hogan. This year he's in a six-man match with midget wrestlers. And again, I'm not using that derisively. I just don't know a better way to say it. To say little people wrestlers just sounds weird.
I mean, they still call it today as like midget wrestling for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah. Anyway, Haynes' departure from the WWF in January 1988 has been a subject of controversy considering dramatic changes in the story as Haynes repeated it. In one version, he says he quit WWF after refusing to do a job in his hometown of Portland, Oregon. Another account of the same incident reported he actually wrestled the match with the finish reworked and was then fired afterwards.
Huh.
I could see
Okay.
Vince doing that to somebody. So, the Dark Side of the Ring episode revealed the true reason for his release was that he overdosed on pills during a flight, and the company did not want to risk keeping him and dealing with the negative publicity he might bring. So that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what's actually kind of disappointing
What?
is again, this says they like he and Hercules had a series of chain matches afterwards. If there had been a SummerSlam in 1987, that would have been an ideal match to have at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But of course, SummerSlam did not come to be until 1988. So
Yeah. That would have been a good match for SummerSlam.
yeah.
All right. Here comes Hillbilly Jim's
Yep.
team.
Hillbilly Jim, the Haiti kid again, with some of his hair grown back from the prior year, and Little Beaver against King Kong Bundy, Lord Littlebrook, and Little Tokyo.
Little Beaver. Jesus Christ.
Well, Little Beaver is the source of some shit I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Oh, another quick factoid before this match starts. According to What Culture, Vince, Dick Ebersol, and Jesse Ventura tried to get Arnold Schwarzenegger to make an appearance on this show, but
Oh,
Schwarzenegger declined for reasons that are not apparent.
interesting.
He, of course, would do stuff with WWF in later years.
Wonder what they wanted him to do for this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you look around the show and it's like, okay, where exactly does he fit in? You know, did they want him to maybe like be like the guest ring announcer for the main event or a guest enforcer or something like that, you know? But if they had involved him in the main event match, though, that would have taken away from the mystique that they had built up about doing Hogan versus Andre. Hillbilly Jim with a
Yeah.
cartwheel. There we go.
Yeah. That's an amazing feat.
Yeah. Hillbilly Jim, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him as a person. Like he always seems to be like universally regarded as one of like the absolute nicest guys who ever worked in wrestling.
Yeah. I've never heard anything bad about him either.
Yeah. You gotta admit, he's an impressive looking guy too.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the rules of this match explicitly are the midget wrestlers can only wrestle the midget wrestlers, and Bundy and Hillbilly can only wrestle each other. So like the midget wrestlers are not supposed to go at Bundy or Hillbilly, and vice versa. All right, now we got the four little person crisscross and little robo action. Little Beaver wrestles barefoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Haiti Kid was 33 years old at the time. Little Beaver was 53, so he was up there. Um Little Tokyo, who passed away back in 2011, Little Tokyo was 36. No, 46. I'm sorry. I can
Wow,
subtract.
46 at that time? Wow.
Yeah. Um Little Beaver passed away back in 1995. Haiti Kid's still alive. And Lord Littlebrook was actually the oldest. Lord Littlebrook, um, geez, Lord Littlebrook was 58.
What?
Yeah, he was born in 1929.
He was 58 in this match?
Yeah.
Holy shit. He doesn't even fucking look like it.
Well, what's actually kind of more amazing is I know there's like a stereotype. I don't really know how true it is that little people don't live as long. Lord Littlebrook lived until 2016 when he was 87.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, he does not look nearly 60.
No.
Here comes Bundy. Bundy, you big bastard, you're stealing money. Haiti Kid looks like he's wearing like slippers.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, Little Tokyo and Lord Littlebrook are wearing boots.
Yeah, Hillbilly Jim's a big dude, not just height wise, but he's definitely
Yeah.
he's a strong son bitch.
And he had a long career like that was kind of off and on. Like, he'd like disappear, come back, disappear, come back. Like he was gone for a little while, then he came back and he was like only doing like commentary and he was like on primetime wrestling when it was like a roundtable show. Then he went away for a while again. Then he came back and he was managing the Godwins when the Godwins were faces. It was always kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He has a radio show, I believe. Oh, star ratings again. Meltzer gave Hercules and Billy Jack 2 3/4, which
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
means he gave it a better rating than the tag match, which is a little ridiculous to me. I think Billy
How the
Jack and
fuck do you
Hercules,
that how?
Billy,
Sorry, Meltzer. How the fuck you give that match a better rating?
that Billy Jack Hercules match to me was 2.5 at best, and I might have gone lower.
I
So Little Beaver is pissing off Bundy.
I would do 2.25 or 2.5.
2 1/4 to attach you down to two, I think would be my rating for Hercules Billy Jack.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't
no, but it's
bad.
not nowhere near a better fucking
To
match
say that
than
it
the
was better
tag
than the
match.
tag
Come
match,
on
I think
now.
is a little ridiculous. The tag match was definitely more exciting, more action packed. Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh
Bundy with
no.
the body slam on poor Little Beaver.
What's wrong? No, little beaver.
Oh, and the elbow drop. Now, this is what was controversial about this match, as I'll get to in a second here. And the referee, and I can't remember which referee that is, seeing Bundy attack Little Beaver, that's an automatic DQ because of what the rules of the match were. I believe that referee is John Lotz, or Jack Lotz, who was around for a while. So yeah, and then this is the funny thing about this match. Little Tokyo and Lord Littlebrook turn on Bundy.
Yep. Good for
You're like,
them.
wait a minute, we were doing this honorably.
Oh, the shortest match of the night.
Okay. Yeah, that match only went 3 minutes 25. All right. One site says Meltzer gave this 2 stars. Another one says he gave it 1 star. I'm kind of more inclined to believe 1 star is more accurate.
I'll give it 1.5.
Yeah. Well, okay. So now, interesting fact. After the high angled slam that planted Beaver onto the canvas, this again comes from What Culture, Bundy motioned for a follow up elbow drop. He wasn't supposed to go through with it, but according to Bundy, the other midget wrestlers were late in stepping in to shield Beaver. Instead of stalling, which would have exposed the work, Bundy carried on dropping the elbow on a man 1/8 of his body weight.
That's insane.
Reportedly, the improvised move was a career ender for Little Beaver, who did indeed retire in 1987.
Jesus,
And
that sucks.
the guy was also in his 50s, so you could argue how much of a career did he have left, but still. Ugh.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Mary Hart interviewing the lovely Miss Elizabeth. Oh, not for long. You must be fascinated with the Macho Man Randy Savage. You want to ask me questions? I'll answer them one by one. Yeah. You talk to the Macho Man because
Is she the Intercontinental Champion?
remember, at this point in our relationship, there was still a little bit of a question as to whether Randy Savage was domestically abusing Miss Elizabeth. Yeah. My phone number's on the back of my license plate.
You're a real charm.
And let's be honest, when you look at Elizabeth there, I mean, again, she was just so insanely beautiful, you know.
Yes.
And the thing was that she always had she was always like the definition of like elegant class, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I think everybody like flipped for her.
I agree. 100%.
I love JYD putting the crown and the robe on here. I think by this time Meltzer was calling him the junk food dog, and he was pretty obviously noticeably chubbier around the midsection at this point, which unfortunately he keep getting chubbier.
Yeah, it's funny he says that, but look at Harley Race right there.
Oh yeah. Well, Harley always looked like that though, so yeah.
We're getting Moolah and the Weasel. Oh
Yeah.
God.
Oh,
Look at
boy.
these fucking three.
Sadly, none of these people are still with us. Well, okay, sadly in 3 cases.
Yes.
Harley Race, and to have Junkyard Dog bowing to the king as he's supposed to.
Well, I'm giving you right now the crown jewels. You take care of this real well, and then you give it to the king after the match and put it on his head, as only the queen of wrestling.
As only the Queen of Wrestling can do. Oh God, make me gag in my mouth.
Yeah, yeah. Euchre's in the booth there. He's got to get with Moolah. So this is interesting now. Harley Race is coming out to this classical music. The name of the piece I can't remember, but this was what they would use as Jerry Lawler's theme for his entire WWF tenure.
Yes.
WWF/WWE tenure. And of course that makes the sense because Harley Race was the king here, and Jerry Lawler, of course, was always the king.
Yes, Harley, you're such the king of wrestling.
Now Harley, of course, was past his prime at this point, obviously. I mean, he had all of his NWA title reigns, and he was 44 years old here.
44? Ah, it's nothing.
Yeah, today, yeah. But it is still funny when you think about Harley Race WWF, because
Yeah.
not because some people think that it was like a rib of Vince to give him the king gimmick and to make him wear like the robe and everything. I don't know. I think it was kind of respectful in a way, saying you are the king of wrestling.
Yeah, you could look at that matter.
Yeah. I mean, again, listen to the ovation JYD still gets here. It's
Yeah.
like he was kind of the definition of a baby face who never needed to have a title.
Yeah, it's true.
He was going to be over no matter what.
The other thing too, I think with Harley Race being called the king, I think that kind of like filled his ego.
Yeah, probably. But again, it's like I think the whole reason why he decided to finally go to WWF and sign with Vince and everything was almost undoubtedly probably because of the money.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like after he would gone up and down the road, he had a lot of personal tragedy in his life and everything. Yeah, I'm sure he felt like, getting the payday was probably a good thing. Now, of course, the ironic thing is that he would go back to WCW then after he retired and became a manager there for a while. And he managed, Vader uh, and Lex Luger and somebody else.
yeah. I mean, the managing aspect's fine, but like I for his wrestling career, like you know, I can see him going there for the money, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
He's
People
one of the greats.
people said he wasn't a great manager. It's like I don't really know about that because it was like he was still looked like he was a guy who could take care of you if he had to. And I thought he was a good talker. And like, I'm not saying that Vader wasn't, but I think it also made Vader look more threatening to have Harley Race there.
Yeah, yeah. Harley was a good talker.
Yeah. And he was a legitimate tough guy. Like, Harley Race would legit kick your ass in an instant if he felt like he needed to. I mean, supposedly Hogan was afraid of him.
Yeah, Harley didn't play games.
Yeah. I mean, look, well, here's one thing that stands out about Harley at this time too. Look, he's got tattoos on his arms. Not that many guys had tattoos at this point.
No.
Oh, now I know there's like the big pads there and everything, but again, watching him do the diving headbutt because of the Benoit of it all.
Mm.
And Harley Race did later say, he regrets he ever created it. Of course, somebody else might have come up with it on their own, but it's like Harley, I guess, felt responsible. So
Yeah, someone else could have probably came up with it too.
yeah, that's the thing. Is like, what's to say? Yeah, I love the way Harley took those flops over the rope.
So overselling it's great.
Oh yeah, it's the best kind of overselling. Yeah, is Monsoon legitimately complaining that Heenan's helping Harley get back to his feet? I mean, come on.
He's meant to help and give advice, not to intervene in the match.
Well, I don't think just
Oh
picking a
God,
guy
look at
up is
this.
winning.
The abdominal stretch.
There's a move you don't see anymore.
Came right out of it with a nice hip block. Here's a move I like on a. Oh, Race is crazy.
Yeah, so Harley would only make two appearances at WrestleMania because he left like kind of like right after the 1989 Royal Rumble, so he wasn't on the WrestleMania 5 card. But so like his two WrestleMania appearances are this match, and then in WrestleMania 4, he was in the 20-man battle royal.
Hmm.
Not the most auspicious of WrestleMania, tenures. Oh, here's the thump.
Go! Belly to belly suplex. He nailed him with it. Beautifully executed. 1, 2. Oh, got him. He got it.
That looked like a half-ass finish.
Traction there just from the outside. With the first
Yeah, wow. That was wow. Wow.
jumped up on the apron. Ladies and
I mean, they made a big deal out of this match. They put this loser must bow stipulation, and that was all you got then. 4 minutes, 22 seconds. Meltzer gave it 1 star. And you know what? I don't think that's unfair because there was really just nothing to that match other than Harley taking a couple of fun bumps.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1. Yeah, 1.
like we talked last week again about, and we've talked about a little bit today already, judging a match against like what was expected for it at the time and everything. But even for a match at the time, there wasn't anything to this. Oh,
He crowned them with a chair.
that's one of those like kind of half padded folding chairs. And he hit him with it really weird. Yeah, Monsoon's acting like JYD got wronged in that match. He really didn't. He just got beat, you know?
There's the king. And he leaves with it. That's great.
He's feeling pretty darn good. Well, I didn't understand that at all. He lost the match. How can you feel good? Look at the King bent out of shape. Bobby the Brain bent out of shape. Well,
so JYD escaped with the robe, but not the crown. A moral victory for Junkyard Dog? How?
Because he got the robe, Patrick. That's why, brother.
Because
He
he
got the
got a cheap
robe.
shot. He got a cheap shot in on Harley, and Jesus Christ.
Look how Jack McMahon looks too.
See, that was the thing. You never really noticed it when he was always wearing the suits until like the Attitude Era started and stuff. But it's like now looking back on it, it's like, yeah, damn. How did we not really notice it?
I was headed for the Sunset Man.
I realize that sooner or later, you gotta live and die and you gotta face the truth. And for you, Andre the Giant, it's time to face the truth, brother. Because when I think about what you and I have to do, man, what I have to do is nothing. All I have to do is merely beat a 7'4", 550-pound giant. In its purest form, man. Purest truth there is, man. The training, the saying, the prayers, the eating the vitamins. And to beat me, man, you gotta beat every Hulkamaniac, every little Hulkster in the world, everyone that plays it straight, all the ones that don't take any.
Don't take shortcuts, brother.
Reason it's gonna get you, man. The purest form of the truth there is.
By the way, while the Hulkster is going on and on here, so your basketball team woke up in the second half.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want to say I wasn't worried. I was just frustrated.
Well, yeah, that was it. Like I said, when I texted you at halftime, and for those who don't know, Joe's basketball team is Illinois. They were playing Iowa in the Elite Eight yesterday. It was a low-scoring first half, and Illinois was not shooting well at halftime. So I sent Joe a text message.
No.
The object of basketball is to put the round orange ball in the hoop made of iron and nylon.
Yeah. And they still, even in the second half, I forgot to look, but I think they only made like 1 3 in the second half.
Yeah, I
They
think
they
I think it was also that Iowa wasn't hitting as many shots, which so.
their defense got better. I mean, their defense was fine in the first half, but they were just Iowa was hitting like every 3-pointer, they almost every three they were making.
Yeah.
And Illinois' defense showed up. And here's the thing. We won a game by dominating the paint, dominating the boards, dominating second half chances without shooting the three well at all. Poorly, I should say. So we were able to play defense and win the game.
So
Makes me want to pull up the stats now.
yeah. Um But yeah, so hey, Illinois' first Final Four appearance since
2005.
they lost to North Carolina in the national championship game in 2005. Whoop whoop for me, because I'm a Carolina fan. And Joe and I did know each other then, so I don't recall me giving Joe any grief at the time, though.
No.
So, so we got the fabulous Rougeau brothers, who were still faces. And what's kind of funny is you look at them; they didn't change their presentation much when they turned heel, other than they switched from the tights to like the bicycle shorts.
Yeah.
Um, but so this is the whole thing. I don't remember what the circumstances were because again, I wasn't old enough to follow in 1987.
I don't remember, to
It
be
wasn't
honest.
until it was I didn't really start following until like 1988. Like I've always said, the first wrestling match I have a vivid memory of is the Andre Hogan match from the main event in '88. But why is Dino Bravo with the Dream Team and Johnny Valiant? And then it's like, is it because they're wrestling the Rougeau brothers and they're all French Canadian? But then the funny thing too was, is they showed in the interview segment that we were talking over, Johnny Valiant is standing front and center, and Bravo's to his right, and Valentine and Beefcake are both kind of standing behind Valiant. So Bravo is more prominent than the two guys who were in the actual match, and Bravo speaks during the interview, and Valentine and Beefcake don't.
Yeah.
So there should have been maybe, I guess some obvious, shenanigans going on here.
Definitely some obvious shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 3 of 17 for 3, while
Yeah,
Iowa was 11 for 30.
Yep. Well, that's the only reason that I was even in the game then, because they made 11 threes.
You know, other than that, we shot 47% and they shot 38%. We out rebounded them 38 to 21.
That's a pretty huge margin.
Offensive rebounds out rebounded them 16 to 8.
Yep.
We had 13 fouls, they had 20. They shot 86% from free throws. We shot 86% from free throws.
Yeah. So Illinois will play the Michigan Tennessee winner.
No. They'll play the Duke Yukon winner.
Oh, okay. Well, I will be rooting for them in either one of those potential matchups because I can't stand either Duke or UConn.
Yeah, Arizona will be playing the winner of the Michigan Tennessee game.
Okay. It's kind of funny to watch Jacques Rougeau do high flying moves because I'm kind of more used to seeing him as the Mountie or as one half of the Quebecers, and I don't recall him doing a lot of the high flying stuff by that point in his career.
Yeah, true.
Beefcake with you can almost kind of see the evolution into the barber here with the with those pants that he wore that were like half cut up. And Monsoon also just made reference to his haircut, so
Yep.
some foreshadowing to what's going to happen here a little later. Oh, and Heenan's in the broadcast booth. Not Valentine with the figure four, one of his trademark moves. Jacques frantically selling. Oh, okay. Heenan's in the booth bragging he's 2 for 2, so of course that means Andre is going to win. No, rope break. Valentine's got to break the hold. The referee, who I do not recognize with the mustache, is telling him to break the hold. And so, of course, Valentine blasts Raymond. I always gave Ray Rougeau credit because after he retired, he's kind of stuck with the company as like a commentator.
Yeah. Yeah, you did for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he did like interviews as like I think it was around the same time as like it was like during like the New Generation era. I think it was like after like Sean Mooney had left the company. But then he was like, if you watch like mid to late '90s like pay-per-views, and they would show like the French announcers, he was like the French announcer. It was him and his father, Jacques Rougeau Sr.
Hmm.
And I always found it funny because he shaved his mustache by then, and he looked so different without the mustache.
Yeah, you did. Didn't recognize him at first.
Uh-oh, Beefcake accidentally hit his partner. Johnny and Dino are unhappy with Brutus. See, that's really a cool move.
It is.
But now the referee's being distracted, and Dino comes off the top onto Raymond and throws Valentine on top.
And there's your win.
And
There's
there's
your
the
three
pin.
count.
Valentine with the pin, and Jacques was too distracted by Beefcake and Johnny. And now here's where we get the interesting stuff, if you will. Valentine and Dino are celebrating. Beefcake's trying to apologize to Valentine, and Valentine doesn't want to hear it. And Brutus is like, "What's going on? What's going on? Does this mean I got to carry Hulk's bags more?" Well, Jesse, if you were paying attention, he was trying to apologize for hitting Valentine, and now they're shunning him. It's not what's the matter with Beefcake, Jesse. Come on.
He should know better.
Yeah, Gorilla's right here. Whereas Gorilla was being wrong about JYD, he's being right here about Brutus. So this was the end of the Dream Team, and it was the beginning of the new Dream Team. And this might have been the first example of how whenever you apply the word new to a tag team, it always fails. The other problem is that I remember reading years ago, Valentine didn't like this because he and Beefcake worked well together, liked each other, got along well. He felt he had absolutely no chemistry with Bravo.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, here we go. We see Piper getting beat. Who was that with the beard there that was holding Piper? I couldn't see who that was. Couldn't have been Morocco
I missed it.
because he wouldn't have had a beard. And then yeah, Piper destroyed the flower shop. So the more elaborate Piper's Pit set that they used here for the last year or two, which I loved. And then picking up Jimmy Hart. Adorable Adrian. He,
Let the brawl begin.
he and Piper were very good friends. Were Piper and Adonis. Adonis doesn't look especially bigger here than he did at WrestleMania 2, but when he takes his shirt off during the match, I think he does, which is weird. So, of course, what had happened was that after WrestleMania 2, Piper left. And I think he was off filming something. I don't know what. Um, when he came back, Orton had aligned himself with Adonis and Jimmy Hart. He was wearing the pink cowboy hat. And
Oh
Adonis had
yeah.
started the flower shop segment. And then Piper came back and like was looking to reclaim Piper's Pit. And it was a back and forth, and it became this big feud, and it led to this hair versus hair match. And there were already like hints and everything that this was Piper's farewell, which it would be for 2 years. He left after this and didn't come back until WrestleMania 5.
Oh
And
Jesus,
it was
right.
in that interval that he was filming They Live, amongst other things.
Oh, get all that blonde hair. You get shaved off. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Jimmy Hart carrying like that atomizer thing that, like they just showed Adonis spraying Piper with. And of course, they would use a more elaborate one with Martel a few years later when he was in his feud with Jake the Snake,
Yes.
conspicuously. And Adonis got the huge hedge clippers, which we will see again in a minute. All right, you want to hear a really fucked up story about Piper leading up to this match?
Oh no.
Again, this is credit to What Culture.
What did you do?
After working a star-studded eight-man elimination match in Los Angeles 13 days before WrestleMania, Piper cleaned up in the showers of the sports arena's locker room. He was chatting with Harley Race when Piper slipped on a puddle of water, and per his recollection, his fingers went into an empty light bulb socket in his vicinity. The supercharge apparently sent Piper flying backwards several feet and left him in a nauseous and confused state for some time after. So he got electrocuted.
Oh shit.
He managed to work WrestleMania with little to no effects, though he would later sue the LA Sports Arena for unsafe conditions. Piper looked to be done with the business following a planned retirement after WrestleMania, but he would return to wrestling in 1989. He did so after legally settling with the sports arena that February.
Wow.
And you notice here that Piper is walking.
And
And
jogging.
you notice he's getting a huge ovation from the crowd because you saw it at the end of the boxing match against Mr. T. The fans were starting to cheer for him.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's so really amazing about this for how hated, how reviled he had been.
The fans loved them.
He is so loved here, and like he's soaking it in. He can tell because again, I think
Oh yeah, look at them. They're going nuts. Don't retire, Hot Rod. And we are back in a different aspect. We are recording. Well, fans are going to notice a difference in the cut version here. Has this guy lost internet? So, yes.
and what was great
We
about it
are.
is I was babbling on about God knows what as I tend to do, and didn't really notice it until all of a sudden Joe wasn't there, and I had to look at my big hideous face bigger on the Zoom screen than it normally is. So, and as I was babbling on to myself because I didn't know if it was still recording or not, I was trying to act like it was. I came to two realizations. One, I don't know if I could ever actually do a movie reaction channel by myself because I don't know if I could actually just keep babbling to myself. Um, you know, and two, I think I made the joke about like, have you ever watched you watch yourself, watch you watch yourself, watch you watch yourself doing something? Because that's what it felt like I was doing.
Yes, it is quite interesting when you have to do that, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
technical
yes.
difficulties abound. This is what happens when you have to rely on other people for shit, just fucking life, having to rely on other people. Man, I wish I was just like rich and I could just say fuck all you peons. And I mean, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? I I love people.
You fancy people. Come on now.
She fancies you, she told me.
Maybe not everybody, but you know.
Well, I've long said I like individuals, I don't like people. Which basically just means I don't
Granted.
like people in large groups. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't ever go to like those No Kings protests or anything, is because I just can't stand to be in crowds of people.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Roddy Piper is taking his shirt off. Ooh.
The girls scream for Roddy Piper when he takes his shirt off, just as if he was one of the Hardy Boys.
And I'm playing.
Okay, boy. Now, I think I told the electrocution story before we got cut, right? The story about how Roddy got electrocuted in the LA Sports Arena about 2 weeks before WrestleMania 3.
Yes.
Okay. So Piper, yeah, okay, he stuck his belt in the back of his tights and now he's using it as a weapon. And it's like, again, it's like, why isn't this a disqualification? Oh, and now he's got Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart, because I watched this match through not knowing again if the recording was going on or not. Jimmy Hart takes a beating in this match. And this is just the beginning of the night for him. And now Adonis has the belt and he's whipping Piper something good.
Wow, Dan, Adonis definitely got big to be wearing those tights.
See, yeah, that's another thing I was saying when I didn't know if you were gone. I was like, Adonis had obviously put on weight. It's hard to tell if he had put on any more weight between, Adonis with the flare flip. It's hard to tell if he could put on any more weight than he had been at WrestleMania 2 because he never really took like his like top off at WrestleMania 2. But yeah, that
Yeah.
those color tights, They are not a slimming color. Like those tights make him look fatter than he is.
Oh, here goes Jimmy off the ropes. Oh, nope. Jimmy into Adonis with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a pretty good bump over the top by both of them, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Jimmy Hart's sunglasses get broken. And seeing Jimmy Hart without his sunglasses on is weird because he like always had the sunglasses on, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he climbs up to the top and Piper snatches him and
Here goes Jimmy right out, rolling right out the ring.
yeah. Oh look, and he pulled down the WrestleMania 3 banner from the ring apron and then pulls Roddy's leg out from under his leg. I love that. Ventura says Jimmy Hart's justified for interfering because Piper was manhandling him. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if he was the official participant in the match, I mean,
But he wasn't, so he gets what he deserves.
Ooh, Adonis with a chest rake, even more devastating than the Hogan back rake.
You chest raked over my nipples. They are sensitive.
I don't think I'd want somebody scratching their nails over my nipples.
Nope.
I bet he can take Euchre Monsoon. No, Roddy Piper
You
with
know,
the eye poke and Adonis kind of no selling it.
you know what though? Like overall, one thing I've noticed watching the third WrestleMania, there was a lot of selling, man. Like these guys in the 80s knew how to sell.
Yeah. I mean, one see, I think more modern wrestling fans who maybe weren't around in the 80s or the 90s would probably say, "Oh, well, it's ridiculous. It's overselling. It's cartoony." I said, I mean, not a completely unfair criticism, but you know what? It's better than fucking no selling everything.
Yes. And the thing about it is no selling moves that are like more devastating than what they were doing in the 80s.
Yeah. And of course, somebody will also probably say, well, Hogan no sold. That's a little different. You know, like you're talking about like the hulking up and shit, you know. So
Yeah, the hulking up's different. Like I hate when people reference
yeah.
that.
Well, here's the other
You
thing
know,
too.
there's a
Like Piper's been
reason.
getting beaten out for like the last 2 minutes, but he's like he gets to his feet then and he's doing like the come on, come on. And what did you hear as a result of that? You heard the crowd getting into it. That's the other thing too. That's what the selling about too. It's
I'm
not so much
spraying
making
water
it
in the
look like
Piper's face.
yeah, the atomizer. But it's like again, it's not so much that like the selling is to make it look like that the move is like devastating or impactful or whatever. It's as much about making sure that the crowd maintains the connection to what's going on in the match.
Correct.
You could always tell which guys have the ability to by selling keep the crowd in the match, and Piper is one of those guys.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So Adonis's sleeper was called the Goodnight Irene, which is kind of funny.
The good night, Irene. Good night,
Piper
Irene.
trying to back Adonis into the corner to break the sleeper, but unsuccessful. Jimmy Hart at the ringside going, yeah, baby, yeah, we're going to use these clippers on him, yeah.
Yeah, hedge clippers on hair. Good
Well,
luck with that.
again, those hedge clippers will become important, you know, so. So yeah, Adonis let's go the sleeper before the third arm drop and is already celebrating. And then all of a sudden, here comes Brutus Beefcake into the ring. And he apparently has the magic. He's apparently the magic reviver because he just like cast a spell and all of a sudden Piper's back up, you know. And then I love this spot
The hedge clippers off the ropes.
because he obviously he hesitates, and of course he has to hesitate because you want to be swinging hedge clippers back in your face, you know, which is what
Yeah.
kind of makes it a little silly. But you know, at the same time, oh, he gets nailed with the hedge clippers, and then yeah, as I was saying when I was talking to myself, Piper doesn't have it in cinched in there as you can tell, and Adonis doesn't really look like he's really out, but the arm drops 3 times, so that's the match, and Piper is the winner.
I mean, hey, it works.
Yeah, and then here and so Piper's the winner in 6 minutes 33 seconds, and here comes Brutus with the hedge clipper saying, "Yeah, come on, brother." He's ecstatic. I don't think he's ecstatic, Gorilla. And so it's like Brutus starts cutting the hair when it's like, shouldn't Piper have been the one to cut the hair?
Yeah,
But here then is the birth of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And of course, he would carry those hedge clippers around with him for the rest of his career as the barber. Those clippers don't seem to be working especially well. Either that or Brutus just doesn't really know how to use them.
well, I think they're the right clippers, to be honest.
Yeah, and as if you had any doubt that Adonis's hair was not naturally blonde.
Yeah.
But again, if you ever saw his career prior to, this, you of course knew that his hair wasn't blonde. So while we were off, I was turning on more Brian Zane's review of this show to looking for any tidbits that I might have missed on, and we got to this match. I love that they're throwing out a piece of his hair to the crowd. I got some of Adrian Adonis's hair.
Now they're using the
Now they're using
scissors.
the scissors. Yeah. I mean, they do like an intentionally bad job. I mean, obviously Adonis was going to have his hair properly maintained after this, but anyway, there was supposed to be a feud between Adonis and Beefcake after this because Piper left, of course, and Adonis was like, I got to get revenge on this. So there's Piper holding up the mirror. Adonis turns around, just punches it. I think he just said, "What the fuck?" He's flailing after Piper. This is great. Adonis was a great seller.
Yes.
But Adonis and Beefcake were supposed to have a feud, but Adonis got fired not very long after this for what Brian Zane said was a dress code violation, which, what the fuck could that have been in 1987? Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, seriously. Dress code violation back in the 80s?
I
Okay.
think maybe they fired him because Vince was frustrated with the way his physique had gone to shit. So here's the thing, too. Adonis at this time was only 32 years old. And unfortunately,
Wow. Crazy.
or I'm sorry, 33 years old. He would he would die the following year in a car accident in Canada. Oh, okay, they didn't cut this. I missed this when I was watching. Some random fan somehow jumps in the ring and starts celebrating with Piper, and Piper at first is like, "Yeah, hey, that's great, yeah. Let me get the hell out of here because I don't know who you are." I mean, if a fan ever jumped into the ring like that today, that would be pretty scary because you just don't know what somebody might do. Hey, there's Arnold
And they're
Skaaland.
handcuffing them. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just trespass, and you're told not to do this shit. So Piper rides away in the car, and again, they called it his farewell match and everything, and of course, like I said, it lasted a whole 2 years.
You know how pro wrestling is.
Well, I mean, you could argue it lasted longer than some of Terry Funk's retirements. So
Yeah, very true.
yeah, it's on his Wikipedia page too. Adonis then began a feud with Beefcake, but he was fired in May 1987 for what the WWF claimed was dress code violations. Mary Hart saying, "It's strange to call a grown man gorilla, and where'd Jesse go?" Adonis would go back to the AWA and would be managed by Paul E. Dangerously, better known, of course, as Paul Heyman,
Paul E.
uh,
Dangerously.
and was still doing the adorable Adrian Adonis gimmick. And then he started dropping the weight. In fact, he lost 100 pounds, and he hoped to get back to WWF. And it's very probable WWF would have brought him back,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, he had the car accident. So it was such a freak accident too. As Finkel's announcing Jesse coming down to the ring here for some reason as the six-man tag match is about to begin. With the hopes of rejoining WWF and having lost weight, he worked for Dave McKigney in Newfoundland and wrestled against Hartford Love on July 4th, 1988 in Lewisport, Newfoundland. Adonis was in a minivan with fellow wrestlers and twins William Mike Kelly Arco, Victor Pat Kelly Arco, and Dave McKigney. Adonis McKigney and Victor Arco were killed when Victor Arco, allegedly blinded by the setting sun, swerved to avoid hitting a moose, causing the van to fall from a bridge into a creek below.
Oh
Adonis suffered severe
Christ.
head injuries and died a few hours later. William Arco was the sole survivor and sustained severe leg injuries. So just a total freak thing, and that's so sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is totally crazy.
Yeah. Oh, Monsoon just mentioned Ventura and Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger opening June 5th. So here we have the tag team champions, the Hart Foundation, with their new best friend, former crooked referee, Dangerous Danny Davis. Yeah,
Oh,
baby.
Art Foundation.
Yeah. The Hart's in the familiar pink attire now. Danny Davis, I gotta come on. That is just great ring attire, especially for a guy who's supposed to be a crooked referee. It makes him look as obnoxious as hell, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, so that was the thing too. Yeah, I was also getting from Brian Zane and Monsoon just said it because of his actions as the crooked referee. He was suspended for being a referee, suspended for life plus 10 years.
Because that makes fucking sense. Life plus 10 years.
Well, I think it's like when they sentence like a serial murderer, to like 3 life sentences, that kind of thing. The
Yeah,
irony,
which
of course,
still
is
makes
that
no sense to me, but whatever.
Danny Davis would again be a referee for WWF. I think it was starting again in like 1989. They just kind of dropped the gimmick and he went back to being a ref.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how that went
I
down.
think they
Yeah.
kind of treated it like as one of those things where it's like, like they just took him off TV for a couple months and he came back, he was a referee, and it was like, and it's like if somebody tried to say, wait a minute, wasn't he a crooked referee who was suspended for life? And you'd be like, that never happened, as they're like doing the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yep.
Men in Black. Please look into this little pen.
Yeah. Look into this light, please. Beep. So here we have the
Oh, here
former
comes
tag
the
team
British
champions, the
Bulldogs.
British Bulldogs, with Matilda and their good friend Tito
Yes.
Santana. All right, I'm behind on some star ratings, but real quick.
Going after Jimmy
Yeah.
Hart. That's hilarious.
So Jimmy Hart's already taken a bit of a beating from Piper in this match, and now he's flopping out of the ring. And oh, here we go. Tito's starting on Neidhart already on the outside. Slams him into Brett. Oh,
And
and
they're
Davy Boy just press slams Davis, just chucked him over the top rope. So the reason why there was not a tag team title match between the Hart Foundation and the British Bulldogs, as I mentioned last week, was because of Dynamite Kid's back injury. Um,
yes, I remember from last. Yes, yes.
yeah, the Tom Billington, Dynamite Kid, suffered a horrific back injury in December 1986, necessitating the title switch and what looked a bit like the probable end of his career. Bret Hart later asserted the six-man tacking on Danny Davis and Tito Santana would prevent the need for Dynamite to throw himself around the ring with reckless abandon, as was his norm. Of course, the thing of it is like, the Bulldogs keep wrestling in WWF through the end of 1988. Um, but yeah. So Monsoon's calling
Now
this
you
match with
see,
Mary Hart and Bob Uecker because Ventura was just on the floor for reasons.
did you see Ventura left with the dog?
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe okay. That's why he was there. He was here to get Matilda out of the ring, which makes no sense.
He's kidnapped Matilda.
Yep. Davy Boy slamming around his brothers-in-law.
Yeah. How does that feel? Remember the time in the dungeon? Payback, bitch. Let
Well,
me slam you
actually,
a little
was
extra
Davy Boy
harder.
married to Diana yet? Yes, they were. He married Diana in 1984. So yeah, they would have all been brothers-in-law at this point because Neidhart married Brett's sister in 1979. Tito wearing blue tights. I don't. Other than this time, I can't really remember too many times I was seeing him in blue color tights. It was always either red or white until he became
Yeah.
a Matador.
The Hard Foundation, one of the great '80s tag teams.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the best, really. What was weird is how
Hard,
like their career would somewhat ebb and flow, and everything because it's like so like at WrestleMania 2, they're just in the Battle Royal. WrestleMania 3, they're the tag champions and they're in this match. WrestleMania 4, they're in a Battle Royal. WrestleMania 5, they wrestled Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine. Not Rhythm and Blues, just Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, just thrown together as a
yeah,
team to just have a match at WrestleMania. At WrestleMania 6, they had this ridiculously short match against the Bolsheviks. And then WrestleMania 7, they were defending and lost the tag titles to the Nasty Boys, and that was pretty much it for them as a team. But it was like they got the big push. They were the tag champions for a while. Then they lost the tag belts to Strike Force, and they were feuding with Strike Force. And then they just were kind of just there for a while like they were other teams were getting featured. And then they,
yeah. They're
you
always
know,
lingering in the background for a while too.
yeah. And then it's like then they pushed them back up to the tag titles where they won them from Demolition at SummerSlam 1990. Just and then held them for several months to lose them to the Nasty Boys, and then they broke the team up, and Brett's singles push started. While Neidhart kind of just floundered, and like left the company and came back and left the company and came back and left the company and came back.
Yeah, 900 unfortunately was never one of those guys I felt even that back in the day when I was a young pup watching this shit that really thought Nineheart was really going to be anything more would achieve anything really as a singles wrestler, which he really didn't.
That's the thing.
And
It's
so
like,
he just I don't know, for some reason with Nineheart, it just wasn't made for him to be a singles wrestler. The tag team is really where he thrived.
yeah. I mean, I've never seen his work, and I think he wrestled in Mid South as a singles. Um, but yeah, like his WWF tenure is like he was pretty much always in a team. But if it wasn't with Brett, it was with Owen.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was the time where like they put him under a mask and called him Who, which was just like an excuse for Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler to do endless like who's on first jokes. So it wasn't like a push or
Oh,
anything.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
like it was like complete comedy, and it's like it was you came right down to it. It was really shitting on the guy. But
Yeah, make
I
him
think
do
it was a
something that's
situation
pretty
too where
pretty stupid.
Vince. I think it was a situation where Vince had fired him, and Stu Hart basically begged him to give him a job again. So Davis comes in, gives a couple of kicks, then tags back out, looking all proud of himself.
Yeah, I'm the man. Did a couple kicks to the back of Dynamite Kid. I did my job.
And hey, the crowd's booing him, so okay, as Brett's pounding on Dynamite, some star ratings for the last couple matches. So I mentioned the Harley Race
Hold,
Junkyard
please.
Dog,
You
1 star. The Dream Team against the Rougeos, he gave it a star and a half. Uh, uh-oh, not again. Well, I'm gonna stop until Joe comes back. Hopefully, he just had to block his camera for a second because Brett really giving it to Dynamite, the headbutt. Now here comes Danny Davis again, looking very self-satisfied. Couple of kind of soft kicks to the midsection and tags back out to Brett again. He is really working in this match. Danny Davis got his working shoes on, man. Oh, that was actually cool. The Hearts propelled Davis into the ring for like a splash, but Dynamite gets his knees up, and so now he's looking for the tag. Tags in Tito, who had beef with Danny Davis because Tito was one of the many face wrestlers that Danny Davis had screwed over. Davis took that backdrop very weird, as if he didn't know that's what Tito was going to do to him. Yep, there's the flying forearm. Too bad the camera angle kind of missed most of it. And not going for the pin, just wants to punish Davis, which I think you can understand. Again, Tito getting fired up, getting the crowd into it. That's what you do. Now he's going for the figure four. Oh, Neidhart blasts him from behind. Tito tags in Davy Boy. Big clothesline from Davy Boy. Davis flopping on his face. Gotta love it. Nope. Looks like Davy Boy is going for the power slam. Oh, no. Oh, a jumping tombstone. And wow. Davis's head was close to that mat. Big vertical suplex. Davis looks like he's on Queer Street. Doesn't even know what hit him. Oh, thank you, Mary Hart. You're better at this than Susan St. James. Now it looks like Davy Boy's going to go for the running power slam. Yep, that's it. I love this as Davy Boy's running power slam, but trying to make the pin with his back to his opponents, and here comes Neidhart to break it up. Ooh, Tito with a flying forearm, and Dave. Oh, referee's lost control of this one. Brett knocks Tito out of the ring. Dynamite's coming in on Brett. Meanwhile, Davis did something to Davy Boy, and I couldn't see what he did. Davis with the pin. I don't know what he did. The camera kind of missed it. Maybe he got a foreign object from Jimmy Hart. I'm not sure. But Danny Davis gets the pin on Davy Boy, and Davis and the Harts steal the win. And Jimmy Hart's basically helping Danny Davis walk to the back as they do walk to the back rather than ride the cart. Oh, there's the cart. It wasn't in position.
Practice, but yeah.
Davy Boy really selling whatever happened. They haven't shown a replay, so I'm still not sure, and I don't want to stop this and rewind because I don't again know what happened to Joe again. It says we're recording, so we still can't see. Davis is crawling over to Hart. Oh, okay. I don't know how I missed that. Davis clocked him with Hart's megaphone. Duh. So that was great.
Good job with that, Pat. Appreciate it. I had a family call that I needed to take. I
Okay, that's what
apologize.
I assumed, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yes,
So yeah, the Hearts and Danny Davis stole the win with Davis. The panda, the referee lost control of that one, and Danny Davis got the megaphone from Jimmy Hart and clocked Davy Boy with it. So
what did what were the ratings for the Piper match
yes, I will because
and
we're
then this match?
backstage with Mean Gene interviewing Heenan and Andre. Heenan looking resplendent in this white
White and
tux.
gold.
Andre
And
looking
Andre
as
just giving that
intimidating
death
as you can
stare.
be. The reason why Andre looks like that is because, of course, Andre supposedly drank 14 bottles of wine before this match,
I
which for
wouldn't
him,
be
of course,
surprised.
would be just getting started. All right,
Yeah.
anyway. Dream Team against the Rougeos. Meltzer gave it a star and a half. I think it was a little bit better than that, maybe 2 stars.
I would say 2 stars as well.
Piper Adonis. He gave that one 3.5. Best rating of the night so far. Now, put it this way: the crowd was really into it, but, and I'm always going to refer to this one as like the comparison point. He gave Hogan Rock 3 stars.
Yeah, he gave Hogan Rock 3 stars, but he gave this 3.5. That match 3.5.
Right. I
When that
mean,
crowd was 100 times more into it.
you're gonna tell me the work was half a star worth better in the Piper Adonis match than it was in the Hogan Rock match? I mean, it was simplistic in both, but so yeah.
Yeah, that's where
Okay,
I'm
here
like,
we go. The Doctor of Style Slick, and I got to tell you
I
something.
would have gave it 3.25.
Yeah, that feels right. Slick's costume here. I'm glad they toned it down. The
Butch Reed, man,
natural
that
Butch
guy.
Reed with the blonde dyed hair.
What about the tag match? What do they give that one?
Oh, yeah, hold on, I'll get to it. I mean, again, Slick's outfit here again, like I said, I'm glad they toned it down because like that hat, that particular hat that he's wearing, and like he's got like tails on his jacket was way too pimpish.
Yeah, I knew you were going there with that one.
Well, I mean, again, so I mean, like I said, like they just toned down his outfit. He wore a different type of hat and like he wore a more regular suit. I think that was a good thing. So here comes the
Yeah,
Birdman,
indeed.
Coco Beware.
Coco Beware. Another
Oh,
face fans
yep.
loved.
Coco was over in Memphis, and Bruce Pritchard always made the joke, Butch Reed was over in Florida. So Butch Reed was also over in Mid South. So the 6-man tag that we just saw, 2 3/4. I also feel like that was a 3-star worthy match.
I would say for me a 3 star as well.
Yeah, and the match went and the match went 8:52. Did that tag match.
Butch Reed, a man. I don't know much about Butch Reed, to be honest.
Oh, Jesse's kind of changed the tire now. Look at this, Gorilla, the official WrestleMania 3 shirt. Get it at WWEshop.com. Jesse, what the hell is WWEshop.com? Well, there's going to be this thing in a few years called the internet.
The interwebs.
Yeah.
Butch
Butch,
Reed with the blonde hair.
yeah, the blonde dyed hair, calling him the natural, Butch Reed instead of like hacksaw Butch Reed, which he'd always gone by in Mid South. Oh boy. The B in Cocoa Beware stands for buckwheat. Ooh, Jesus. So, oh, okay, so Jesse went down the arena floor just to take in the crowd. Butch Reed at this time was about 33 years old. Um, he had been a former football player.
Yep.
He worked, like I said, like in Florida in like the late 70s and early 80s. Um, he won the NWA the Florida version of the NWA North American Tag Team Championships with his partner Sweet Brown Sugar. They beat Dory Funk Jr. and David Von Erich. There's a team for you.
Jeez, yeah.
He also wrestled, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling, St. Louis. On April 7th, 1982, Reed had what is now recognized as the first 5-star rated match by Dave Meltzer when he challenged Ric Flair for the NWA title in Miami. So I wonder if any footage of
Interesting.
that match exists. Well, let me go to YouTube real quick. This is a short
I
match, I
would
know, so it's like you have to try to do this
I
fast.
would like to see that Butch Reed versus Ric Flair
Butch
5 star
Reed,
match with Flair.
Butch Reed, Ric Flair.
Was Butch Reed? I forget. I forgot to look to see who wins this match.
No, it doesn't look like. At least if it's not on YouTube. Or maybe there is. I don't know. There might.
Yeah, Slick's outfit, it's toned down, but I feel like it doesn't, since it's toned down, it doesn't fit him.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there is a Ric Flair Butch Reed match on here, but it says it's from Mid South in October '85, so it's not this 5-star match that Wikipedia is making reference to. And here's another one between the two of them from New Orleans and also in 1985. So there's a couple Mid South matches between Flair and Reed from '85, but doesn't look like they
Not
have
the
this
one.
one from '82. There's some promos I think from Florida in '82. It says here, but it doesn't look like they have that match. So okay. Then of course he went to Mid South, and he was Hacksaw Jim Reed. He came in as a face, as a tag partner for JYD. He feuded with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It was the Battle of the Hacksaws. But then like Reed would then he would turn then he would turn heel and back and forth and everything. So he had a pretty successful run in Mid South from like '83 to '86. Um, then he went to WWF. He
Okay.
he was involved in a feud with Don Morocco where he like injured superstar Billy Graham later in 1987. He was in the
Okay.
1988 Royal Rumble. He lost in the first round of the WrestleMania 4 title tournament to Savage. Um, and that was it for him in WWF. Actually, he left after WrestleMania, right after WrestleMania 4. He went to Jim Crockett, and of course, he formed the Doom tag team with Ron Simmons, which was pretty successful.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember some of that.
But then after he left WCW in like 1992, he just kind of bounced around, um, mostly around like indies and stuff. Oh,
Oh, he wins with
reversed the
the pull of the
crossbody, held
tights.
the tights. And Butch Reed was also part of the class action lawsuit against WWE for the head injuries, the Constantine Kiros one. Oh, and here's Tito.
Okay.
Santana going after Slick, and Santana saying, "You know what? You might have worn this outfit today, or you're never going to wear it again." Oh, he's ripping the shit out of that.
Yeah, he is.
Butch Reed died just a little over 5 years ago now from a heart attack, which his relatives said was exacerbated by COVID. Like the COVID kind
Uh,
of helped contribute. Like he had like COVID and then he had the heart attacks afterwards. So Butch Reed is one of those
Chico and
guys
Coco knock out Butch Reed.
Butch Reed is one of those guys who I think has become a little bit underrated because again, like I think his best work wasn't in either WWF or WCW.
Yeah,
So, but again, the
he
thing
was
is,
a
like
big
a lot of that Mid
territory
South
guy.
footage is definitely out there. So I think if you were to track down some of his stuff from Mid South, you'd see how good he was. But yeah, he is one of
Yeah.
those guys that's like because his WWF tenure was relatively brief, it's like he kind of gets forgotten about.
No, he does.
Hey, maybe one day he'll also be in the legacy wing of the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, what's up with this legacy wing shit? Who was? Oh, I meant to tell you. They added somebody else the other
Bad News
day.
Brown.
Yeah, Bad News Brown.
Yeah, I have issues with what they're doing with the legacy wing now. So that anyway, the match between Coco and Butch Reed here went 3 minutes 39 seconds. Meltzer said half a star.
Eh,
And again, this was like like the throwest away of throwaway matches. It really was. So I think half a star is fine.
yeah, I mean, nothing more than a one.
Yeah.
I'll give it a three because Slick got beat up.
Yeah. Here's something that you might find very interesting. Out of the three guys involved in this match, I'm not counting Tito with the run in here at the end, but Butchery, Coco Beware, and Slick. Slick was actually the youngest.
Oh,
Slick wasn't even yet 30 years old at this time. So
oh shit. Okay, he was in his late 20s.
yes, the Reverend Kenneth Wayne Johnson is still alive, age 68.
Oh, good.
Oh, he was the son of Rufus R. Jones. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
The son of who?
Rufus R. Jones. He worked a lot in the Carolinas. They put him in the
Oh,
Legacy Wing of the Hall of Fame some a few years ago. But yeah, Slick is really an ordained minister. Um,
and here we go. We're gonna get the match of the night, brother.
yeah, I always forget that in the build up to this, that they did the whole thing where like Savage had to crush Steamboat's throat with the ring bell and everything. Okay, now you hear the music playing here. Jim Cornette's co-host Brian last said he hates this music. It's not the same as the serious music. I actually love this dubbed in Steamboat music because they used it in an NFL Films video, recapping the 1990 season for the Giants. Was their second Super Bowl, and they use
Okay.
it in part of the NFC Championship game between the Giants and the 49ers that year, where it culminates with where Leonard Marshall crushes Joe Montana, knocks him out of the game. And so I've always loved that music because of that. So
I get you.
yeah.
Understandable.
Ooh, Savage spit on Steamboat.
Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion.
Intercontinental heavyweight champion, and I carry this belt in a very distinctive, very unique way. Nobody else held the Intercontinental title the way that I did. Yeah. I really always wondered where Savage got those glasses. Like, were they
I
custom
know.
made for him? Can you buy
Probably.
sunglasses that look like that today? If so, where can I get them? Oh, Elizabeth's just looking so beautiful.
Like always.
Yeah. All right, so another fascinating fact.
Yes.
The method to Randy Savage's madness was careful preparation. One of the reasons so many performers had the matches of their lives with Savage is that he would meticulously plan out the body of the match. In an era where wrestlers were a little more prone to calling in the ring, Savage preferred a concrete plan. Steamboat was one of those veterans used to freeforming it between the ropes. Of course, he came from Carolinas. So he was a little taken aback when Savage literally faxed him the bullet points for how their Intercontinental Championship match would go. Assuming Savage's plan was followed to the letter, who would argue with the result?
Yeah.
Like I remember, I'm pretty sure, like I saw an interview with Steamboat once where he was talking about getting the script, and it even says like one lockup, and Steamboat was even like Steamboat says, "Well, of course we're going to start with a lockup." So
It's
Savage
funny he
had
laid
been,
it out like that.
yeah. So Monsoon's mentioned it a couple times now. Savage having literally stolen the title from Tito Santana. That had been the prior February of 1986 in a Boston Garden match, which you can find because I know I've seen it. So yeah, he's been Intercontinental Champion for over a year at this point. We clashed like two Titans, but we're not doing this match at Titan Tower.
No Titan Tower.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. You hear the dub music playing, but the captions on the thing said "Sirius" playing, and it's like, well, yes, but no. And here he comes with George the Animal Steel. That thing between
Of
him and
course.
Savage from the year before had never gotten fully resolved. He still had the eyes for Elizabeth. Steamboat had also had a pretty good feud with Jake the Snake Roberts in 1986 when Jake was still a heel. So
Yeah, yeah, very
Jake
true.
has turned face now by this time because of the stuff with the Honky Tonk Man, which we'll get to in a little while.
It's crazy too because
You can
like
tell the
looking at
sun
the
has set, by the
time,
way, by now.
what was that?
You can tell the sun has set by now because the building's dark now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, it's crazy because this match is one of the two that goes over 10 minutes, but this match felt like it was longer than what it actually
I
was.
know when I look at the time for this match, I go, no way. It was longer than that. But
Because it was
I'll
what,
try to
like
see what the timestamp is when the bell rings.
what is it, like 13 minutes or something like that?
Okay, so the bell just rang, and the timer said there's an hour 17:45 remaining. Well, let's see if I remember that.
An hour 17:45. All right.
I'm just gonna type in 67:45 on my well, not 67:45, 77:45. Just I always loved the way Savage moved around the ring. Like, he sensed that
Yes. Very
the animal was getting too close to Elizabeth, so he's like walking around. But like, he goes running and he does like a running jump through like the top two ropes to the outside.
so fluid.
Yeah, well, like, there's very few people who moved. Well, really, no, nobody moved exactly the way that Randy Savage did. You know, there's other guys who, of course, there are plenty of guys who move fast and everything, but like he had a seemed like a very particular way that was kind of all his own. So
Yep. There's times I feel like Macho Man doesn't get enough credit for what he's done too. I know he's like considered one of the greats, but sometimes I feel like people don't give him enough credit.
I yeah, his legacy is weird because he's the one guy who never went back to WWE in any way, shape, or form after WCW closed, except for doing a couple of commercials for the one video game that was like not very long before he died.
Yeah.
And he was like completely gray and everything. It's like if you didn't hear him talk, you would have never known it was the Macho Man.
Yeah, I know.
Um, but he never came back on TV. They didn't do any. They didn't induct him to the Hall of Fame while he was alive. They didn't do any real career retrospectives. The DVDs, which they were still doing at the time until after he had died. I don't think. Um, Even when they did like the WWE produced stuff like that they've been doing with A&E for the last few years, they were really shitting on him during it. And it was like the only one of those ones that I watched where I felt like they were shitting on the guy who they were talking about. And I think it had to do with the stuff where it was Elizabeth. They were more or less saying he was a domestic abuser, which unfortunately he could very well have been in a way, if not outright physically, perhaps more psychologically. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, true.
and so because he seems to get mentioned and featured in like career stuff so infrequently, or it's like it really does feel like, again, if you weren't alive when he was in his prime, you're not going to appreciate him. And that's really a
Nope.
shame because I remember exactly where I was when I found out he had died. Me, my dad, my sister, and I think my sister's boyfriend at the time were in a movie, and we were like leaving. Like the movie was over and we were leaving. And I think I checked my phone. I think it was Jeremy had texted us and said, Randy Savage died, and I
It might have been.
literally fell back. I was standing up, and I literally fell back into the chair I was sitting in. I was just so shocked. I just couldn't believe it, because it came out of nowhere. There was, because it was the car accident. Really, he had like a heart attack.
Yep.
And I guess I was always still hopeful that he would reappear again. I knew he was never going to wrestle again at that point. Um, I guess I was still just hopeful that he would just come back in some way, shape, or form, even if it was just for a Hall of Fame induction, or just or just to sit down to have a full like career retrospective DVD where he would, where he would get to tell his story his way. So Joe talking off screen, of course, so we will let him do that. Meanwhile, back in this match, Savage with the advantage, just meticulously working over and doing the constant. Because see, that's something else that's a lost art in wrestling today that they know that really nobody does. Constantly going for pins.
Yeah.
They
It's
no,
it's went from constantly going for pins to false finishes.
right. Well, that's the thing. The last line on that fact that I was reading from the What Culture article says Savage and Steamboat put together the best WWE match of the 1980s and ushered in a faster paced, false finish laden style that would become a standard in later years. And there are a lot of false finishes in this match, but it's like, it's not the constant kicking out of finishers false finish,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
kicking out of moves that look like they should kill you false
Yes.
finishes.
A little difference.
Yeah. Oh, Steamboat with the standing cross. Well, it was more. I guess it was a running crossbody, and then
This match is just that fucking good.
the
Like
patented
this.
Ricky Steamboat arm drag. Yeah, and they're going back and forth. Yeah. Somebody could say, well, this is just like today, was like they're doing move after move. Yeah, but again, it's back and forth. It doesn't look like it's rehearsed. They're bumping into each other. It's not carefully choreographed, even though they both know what they're going to be doing. It's still it looks different than what today's stuff does. It still looks like they're just going back and forth and everything. Steamboat's feet. I think his feet hit the ropes or floor, so he's out. Oh, okay. Well, now he definitely is out of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's different. Like, yeah, they're kind of are doing the back and forth, but it's not in the same manner.
Too much of today's stuff when they're going through and doing back and forth stuff, it looks like competitive gymnastics. That's like carefully choreographed and everything. Oh, set. Whoa,
Oh, into the crowd.
jeez. So think about it. He takes the knee to the back and he goes sprawling onto the little announce table, and then he basically surfs over the table, over the barrier, and into the front row. Oh, Ventura rightly calling Monsoon out for when Monsoon was getting pissy about Bobby Heenan helping up Hercules. And now when George Animal Steel's literally dragging Steamboat back in, Ventura's calling him out and saying, shouldn't you be objected to this? And Monsoon's like, he's not a manager, he's a friend.
Yeah, that part's funny. That made me chuckle.
See, look at it. The camera angle. I love it. It just makes him look bigger than life. And then he
Yes.
comes down onto the floor with that double axe handle.
Oh, Matt's calling me.
Tell him we're busy. I know we're going later than what we normally do, but hey, we had extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Going up to the top again. Another double axe handle. Oof, the big elbow smash. That was one of my favorite things about Savage too. Like he would always use like the elbow. He wouldn't really like
Yeah.
punch. He'd use like those elbow smashes and the double axe handles and stuff.
Oh, what a good move. Jumping out
Yeah, and again, look how
of the
quick he
ring, using
moves.
the rope to
Look how quick he moves. He does that. He jumps over the top rope. hangs him up on the top rope, and is right back in the ring.
Yep. So good.
And Steamboat already looks like he's dead on his feet. He's taken a lot of punishment. So again, somebody could say, well, those aren't really false finishes; those are just standard two kickouts. But yeah, that's the point is he's going for the pin, and but he just doesn't have quite enough to finish him. He keeps doing move and move. And Steamboat is resilient; he won't give up. That's the whole point.
And it's the thing, like we mentioned before, these are just normal moves. These aren't moves where we're doing false finishes because we're putting this devastating move like a Canadian destroyer on somebody and they're kicking out of it.
Right.
And then we're doing like something else that's devastating. We're kicking out again. Like
Yeah.
these are
Oh,
just normal wrestling moves. Like
Steamboat with
those,
the flip
that's
out.
that's where it's I get frustrated with the stuff I watch today.
Yeah, and again, it's as much. Whoa! Steamboat flips Savage over to the top.
That was an intentional throw over the top.
as if
Jesse
Savage
Ventura,
hadn't
you're so
already thrown
special.
Steamboat over the top rope a few times. Uh, and again, I don't. It's weird that Ventura even brings that up that should be an intentional disqualification because, to the best of my knowledge, that was never a rule in WWF. It was a rule in the NWA territories, yes, but
Yeah, I
but
don't think it
again,
was.
when Savage is going for those pins after doing the gut wrench suplex after doing the double axe handle off the top rope, the Steamboat goes to the top now. Oof, the big chop. One, two. Oh, and Savage
Oh,
gets the
leg on the
ropes.
rope, too close to the corner.
But again, the reason why they're going for the pin isn't as much because it's as much I'm tired. I'm looking to see if I can get him down as opposed to I know I have him down because I just hit him with my finisher kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a desperation factor plays into it because again, you're expending your energy, you're tiring, you're exhausting. You don't know how much you have left. So hey, if you can get a pin, you get the pin. Just notice George Animal Steel was very close to Elizabeth there, but Elizabeth was behind him and Savage didn't pay attention to it. Oh, the shoulder
Too
inside.
busy trying to retain his Intercontinental Heavyweight
Yeah.
Championship.
Oh, I was gonna say, is Hebner gonna do the rope kick thing? But no, he didn't. See again, the roll ups, these are things that again are you don't see much if at all today. Didn't have him really hooked well on that double leg hook pin. Ventura already saying this is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen.
And there's people who were cheering for Macho Man too in this.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't be a heel especially long after this. It was only a couple months later that they really turned him face, where they did the angle with the Honky Tonk Man and the Hart Foundation, where they hit him with the guitar. Whoa, Savage took a swing at Hebner. See again, these are false finishes, yes, but these are because it's back and forth, it's competitive. It's these going for this, it's he's going for that. It's not I'm kicking out of the finisher, I'm kicking out of the pile driver on the steps.
Oh, the
Oof.
tights.
Grabs the tights and Steamboat kind of overselling by running all the way then into the post.
Uh,
Just think about it
Considering the fact that he had to like
with how
jump over
Savage
Macho Man to do it.
with how Savage jerked him and from where it's like there's no reason he should have gone that far.
No. He's like, oh, I gotta like do a little hop, skip, and a jump over Macho Man to get into this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
bump ref
there's the
bump.
ref
Oh
bump.
God, look at the ref bump. Yes.
You know what's
Yes.
great? That's Dave Hebner. But
Yo,
again,
Dave
because
looked like he was dying in that ref bump.
right,
He
and
just
that's
like
Dave
a stiff
Hebner,
forward and just goes backward.
and obviously again because they were identical twins and everything, but he sold
Oh,
just the way his brother would always sell that, you know. And
that
there's
shit was
the best elbow
hilarious.
drop ever. But of course, there's no referee.
It is just so funny. That bump was great. He just the way he fell backwards. Oh, that was perfect.
So look at this.
That's
Savage
one of the
didn't.
best ref bumps I've ever seen.
Yeah, Savage wasn't trying to take Hebner out, but now it's like he's been screwed over by having done so, you know? And so, yeah, now here he goes for the ring bell, and Hebner's waking up, and the animal steals the ring bell, kind of doing the right thing, you know, kind of preventing the interference. Oh, but no, Savage kicks him, takes the bell back. And again, Hebner's waking up, so Hebner's going to see this. And see, so that technically should be a disqualification too, because the animal touched Savage, you know, threw him off the
He's like,
rope.
wait, there's a ring bell in the ring. What happened?
And then the slam into the small package. 1, 2, 3.
And new Intercontinental Heavyweight
103.08.
Champion,
Yeah, wow. That match only
Ricky
was as long as it says it was.
Steamboat.
14 minutes, 35 seconds. Ricky Steamboat, new Intercontinental Champion.
What was it, 13 or 14?
Uh, sorry. 14 minutes, 35 seconds. Longest match on the card. I love Hebner still looking pretty haggard and everything there. Savage trying to be like, yeah, the animal pushed me off the rope. What is wrong with you? Are you blind?
How do you not see that, brother?
I love George Steele kind of picking up Steamboat on his shoulders then and putting him into the car. And that's a great shot then with Steamboat holding the title up.
Yeah.
Sadly, Steamboat's tenure with the Intercontinental title would be briefer than it should have been.
Oh, of course.
God damn, Ricky Steamboat's been married 5 times.
He's been what?
He's been married 5 times.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, before I get to the controversy over the star rating for this match,
Oh boy.
several weeks after winning the Intercontinental Championship, Steamboat asked Vince McMahon for some time off to be with his wife Bonnie, who was expecting the birth of their first son, Richard Jr. This did not sit well with WWF management, as he had been groomed to be a long-term champion. The decision was made by WWF management to punish Steamboat by having him initially drop the title to Butch Reed, but Reed did not show up that night, so he dropped the title to the Honky Tonk Man on the June 15th edition of Superstars, so like not even 3 months after he won the title. His son was born a month
That's
later.
some bullshit.
Yeah, Steamboat came back in time for the Survivor Series, but management was still bitter over his impromptu sabbatical. And while he wasn't jobbing in his match, and when he wasn't jobbing, he was not pushed or given any meaningful feuds. And he left shortly after WrestleMania 4 when he lost in the first round of the tournament to Greg Valentine.
That's crazy.
And then, of course, he would go back to well, by then it was WCW because the Turner purchase had gone through. In 1989, and he had, of course, the phenomenal series of matches with Ric Flair, where they traded the NWA title. Oh,
Yeah, that guitar didn't really break.
because it was a real guitar.
He took a real shot with a real guitar. Kudos to you, Jake.
See, that's the thing. On the Jake the Snake DVD that they did years ago, he didn't blame Honky Tonk Man. He said it was just bad planning on everybody's part because there wasn't a fake guitar; it was a real guitar. Because he said he was pulling out pieces of fiberglass from his body for weeks afterwards. You know.
Jesus.
Um, Honky Tonk Man, I think, has been very defensive when asked about it, saying, like, I know I didn't hurt him. It's like, no, you did. You may not have meant to. And I don't even
Yeah,
think
but you definitely did.
and I don't even think Jake says that you meant to, but you did. I mean, when you see it slow down, when you see when Honky Tonk hits him, Jake's face goes like, you
Yeah,
know,
you can see it in his face, like he's like it. It,
he
it,
he
it
was
rocked him.
he was knocked silly, literally.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about this was, of course, as Alice Cooper, Detroit native, coming with Jake. Jake not bringing the snake.
No,
Oh no,
right
there it
there.
is. Okay, there it is. I didn't see him. I figured he'd be holding it. But Jake, of course, had really been a heel since he had joined WWF up until this point. And when Honky Tonk Man at first came in, he was actually a face. This was like a rare like double switch moment. Though I would also argue, as soon as Honky Tonk Man was aligning himself with Jimmy Hart, he's already a heel, you know. And he
Oh,
came out
yeah.
with Jimmy Hart in that snake pit segment where he blasted Jake with the guitar. So this is obviously one of the big matches on the card because you know this is where they created a huge grudge and everything. I love Alice Cooper with the makeup. Don't really love Alice Cooper personally right now because it likes Trump, and I can't figure that one out for the life of me.
This is what it is. Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
So what was the rating for Macho Man?
Oh, and just real quick, just as you can tell that that guitar the Honky Tonk Man is holding in this promo is not a real guitar.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
like they learned their lesson, you know. Savage Steamboat. The rating from Dave Meltzer: 4.5 stars.
Okay.
I cannot, will not ever understand how that didn't get 5 stars from Meltzer, especially for that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I rated that. I definitely rate that 4 3/4 to 5 stars on my rating.
To me, that's a 5 star match. It just is.
I'll go as far as that too. I have no issues. Like, yeah, that match was just fucking good.
Yeah.
And you don't see very many matches like that in the 80s, period.
No, I mean, yeah, again, outside of like stuff in Japan or maybe stuff that Flair was doing, but I mean,
But like in WWE, not so much. Maybe a little bit more in WWE as like, 88, 89, maybe so with some
yeah,
people. But yeah, other than that, you're not you're not seeing that.
yeah.
I feel like this was one of the matches that wasn't very long either.
What, the Jake and Honky Tonk Man?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, again, we're a little more than 2 hours into the show. This is the 10th match.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
7 minutes and four. It was 7:04.
yeah. This is a match that, again, another match that could have been longer and maybe should have been longer. Um, but Jim Cornette might dispute me because I know he's always talked about the Blonde Bombers, which is when Honky Tonk Man, when he was wrestling under um his own name, Ray Ferris, was one half of this team. I think it was mostly in Memphis. He's talked about what a great team they were and everything. But Honky Tonk Man, I don't think was ever really regarded as a great worker by most people. Especially once he was the Honky Tonk Man. It was really the gimmick. And of course, then he ended up holding the Intercontinental Championship for over a year.
Yeah, which is still interesting, but it is what it is.
Yeah, he was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time until Gunther's reign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Honky Tonk Man was a good gimmick, a good wrestler. I just think he was kind of a little bit more full of himself than he really should have been.
Yeah, I mean,
Look at the snake trying to get out.
oh, and he is named Damien by now. He's like in one WrestleMania 2 review I read, they mentioned how he didn't have a name yet.
Damien's like, I'm tired of being in this bag. Let me out, brother.
Honky Tonk Man was also one of those guys who, of course, didn't really have a physique. Not really, anyway. You know.
Yeah,
Then again,
I
Jake
mean, it's
wasn't.
better than Jake's physique. I'll say that.
Yeah, Jake wasn't quite as chubby though.
No,
Not really, at least anyway.
he is what you call skinny fat.
Yeah. Honky Tonk was kind of like was what I guess you could maybe call like thick, but not like thick as in fat.
Yeah.
It's just like his body type, kind of really. But yeah, I've seen a lot of interviews with Honky Tonk Man over the years where he has always seemed pretty full of himself. And he was one of the guys that Hogan convinced WCW to hire in 1994. And it's like, can you fucking imagine the Honky Tonk Man still around in 1994?
Yeah.
You know, and like they brought him in to do like a program with like Johnny B. Bad, and he was supposed to wrestle Johnny B. Bad for the television title at Starrcade 1994, which was the first WCW pay per view I ever bought because I was so intrigued by seeing Hogan against Beefcake. That's when Beefcake had turned on Hogan, became the Butcher.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but Honky Tonk Man was supposed to wrestle Johnny B. Bad on that card, and he either no showed or got fired because he was not wanting to do the job to Johnny B. Bad. So Johnny B. Bad ended up wrestling Arn Anderson on that show.
So sad.
Yeah. So Honky Tonk Man, because I think he's one person that Eric Bischoff has never had anything good to say about.
No, no, I know he has not.
Because Bischoff feels like, hey, I brought you in here on his recommendation, meaning Hogan, and you're being an asshole. So
I was listening to Bischoff was live the other day, um, and I had some time in between meetings to kind of listen. And a fan wrote in and asked if roles were reversed and you did win the war and WWE went out of business, would you have hired or brought in Vince McMahon for a storyline? Kind of like how Vince brought Bischoff in. And Bischoff was probably he said yeah. He said there's always some intrigue there in regards to it. I was always about, making the intrigue happen.
yeah.
So he pretty much said he would.
So my take on that, I think Bischoff, AJ's calling me.
Yeah, because he has no one to talk to right now.
Um, I think Bischoff would have offered. I don't think Vince would have agreed because
Well,
Because Vince fancied himself still more as the guy in charge, or the promoter, or as a businessman, more so even than as like an on-screen talent. So like if Bischoff was going to bring him in purely for character work, let's just say, I don't think Vince would have been interested, because I think Vince would have been looking for whatever his next business opportunity was. Because he figures like, I've got friends, I can try to figure out how to do something else. And there's no way Bischoff would have asked Vince to come work for the company as like an executive, and there's no way Vince would have accepted that either. So
no, I think he would have came back. I think he would have hired him to do something as far as like a storyline, because in that conversation he said that like when Vince brought him in, he was very complimentary towards him, like in just the way, like I forget the exact words, but kind of paraphrasing, like if roles were reversed, I would hope you would, do the same for me or whatever, some jazz like that. So
that's
I don't remember
yeah,
the exact
I
words, but yeah, it seems like
I think that's more Honky Tonk doing the Harley Race spot with the rope bouncing. I think
yeah.
that was more Vince's way of trying to basically just butter the person up, charm
I
them.
mean, it could be, but it was an interesting question because I've never, no one's ever asked Bischoff that. Like that's never been all the interviews and stuff I've read, like the
Yep.
stuff the shows I watch of
Yep.
Bischoff. No one is, when they go back and talk about like the ending of WCW, like no one's ever asked that to him. That was like a first. So
Yeah.
I mean, he said yes. So in what capacity? I think it would be more storyline driven than anything in the back, but because at that time, Vince on TV on camera was gold compared to not being on TV.
So Jake went for the DDT, but he was too close to the ropes. Jimmy Hart grabbed his foot. That gave enough distraction to Honky Tonk, like rolled him up and then hung onto the top rope for the very cheap win. And then
Yeah, here we go. Alice Cooper
Alice
and Jimmy
Cooper,
Hart
yeah.
are going to go at it.
Alice Cooper grabbed the guitar. Jake swung the guitar at Honky Tonk Man, Honky Tonk Duck, and it like just shattered into 1,000 pieces on the post. Okay. So you see the
Alice
way that
Cooper
Jimmy
breaks
Hart
out
is
the snake.
flailing around as Jake is holding him in a full Nelson here as Alice Cooper's getting the snake, right?
Yeah,
You see the look of fear on Jimmy Hart's face?
it's probably real.
It's real. It is so real. Roberts firmly held Jimmy Hart in place while Cooper menaced Hart with Roberts' trademark Python Damien. Turns out Hart has a legitimate fear of snakes. Well, when Hart frantically kicks his legs in the direction of a snake-wielding Cooper, it's very real fear powering the flailing. In the course of the torment, Hart strained his neck while trying to flee the scene. So remember, he was getting the shit beat out of him in the in the hair versus hair match. So Jimmy Hart had his working shoes on that night, and they don't wait for the card either. They're like, "Oh, come on, Jimmy, we got to get it. Come on, Colonel, we got to get out of here." So,
Let me say,
whoa,
Jimmy Hart did a lot of stuff tonight at this fucking this WrestleMania.
yeah,
He put in
there's a
he
lot of
put in
people.
work.
There's a lot of people who don't think Jimmy Hart's one of the greatest managers of all time, and he may not be like at the very top. Like I definitely would never put him above Heenan, Cornette, and Heyman. So he's always going to be like number four at best to me, but he's not that far from the top. And I think some people think that he was a clown, and he really wasn't. Because again,
I
a lot of his best work again was in Memphis.
Yeah, he's a top 10 guy for me,
Oh, he's definitely
100%.
top 10. He might be in my top five too. I've just never. I mean, again, like I said, Heyman, Cornette, Heenan are definitely the top three. It's probably Heenan, Cornette, Heyman for me in that order. Um, like Gary Hart definitely deserves to be up there, but he's another guy who I think because he never worked for WWF and only briefly for WCW, people have forgotten about. I think Paul Bearer has actually been a little overrated because for so long it was just him with the Undertaker. He got more interesting when he broke away from Undertaker.
When he
Really,
was with Kane, I think he did good work when he was with Kane.
he did good work. I think he did decent work when he was with Mankind too.
Yeah, yeah,
But I would put Jimmy Hart above Paul Bearer. And I
yes,
do
I do as well.
incorporate his time as Percy Pringle too. Like I'm just talking, much different character and everything. You know, JJ Dillon, of course, was a really good manager.
We should do our top 10 managers, like our Mount Rushmore of wrestling managers, and then do our top 10 list of who we have.
Yeah. Well, I probably just gave you I gave you three-quarters of my Mount Rushmore, yeah. So
Yeah. But at some point, be more in depth with it and whatnot.
yeah. So that match went 7 minutes and 4 seconds. Meltzer gave it hmm, he gave it 2.5 stars. I actually think that's slightly generous because that match was kind of boring, and especially because the build that they had for it,
He
I
was
think it should
generous
have been
giving that.
better.
See, and that's the thing. Like that worries me. Like you give that 2.5 stars. I don't know,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
I'm giving that 1 1 3/4. That's what I'm giving it.
I'd say it's two at max. I mean, because the Billy Jack Hercules match, I think, had more heat, more action in it than the Jake Honky Tonk match should have. And the Jake Honky Tonk match was higher profile. So now Mean Gene's in the ring to Mean Genus.
March 29th, 1987.
Oh my God. Today's March 29th as we're recording this. We're watching this literally on the 39th
Oh shit.
anniversary. Wow.
I did.
Yeah,
Wow.
what a weird coincidence. We didn't plan this, that's for sure. Because yeah,
Wow.
see,
We did.
we didn't know until just the other day that Jeremy wasn't going to be with us again today. So we weren't like planning to do this today.
Nope. It just happened to work out.
Yep,
Wow.
and this is when Gene announces the attendance at 93,173. So world
Wow.
indoor record. Um, that of course is not the world indoor record anymore. even if you believe that that number is real.
I mean, at this point, how are we really going to know?
Well, according to Wikipedia, the record for their largest indoor event stood until January 27th, 1999, when it was surpassed by the Papal Mass with Pope John Paul II at the TWA Dome in St. Louis, Missouri, which drew an audience of 104,000. So you can't beat the Pope.
That is crazy. We are watching this on March 29th, 2026, and this was live March 29th, 1987.
Yep.
Damn. That is interesting.
So this is a little interesting here. At WrestleMania 1, they won the tag belts from the US Express with when they still had Freddie Blassie in their corner. And then they were separated at WrestleMania 2, that they were both on the Rosemont portion of the show. Volkov had the flag match with Corporal Kirchner, and Iron Sheik was in the Battle Royal.
Look
And
at
here they
Slick
are.
coming out with his shirt all still torn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, here they are
Fucking
teaming
love
up
it.
again, but now Slick is their manager because Freddie Blassie had to retire and he sold his wrestlers off to Slick. Like he sold their contracts. And yeah, so because they're in a torn outfit. And hey, Slick doesn't look happy, so he's doing a good job of selling the fact that he's out there in torn clothes.
Yes. I mean, hey, it's staying in the gimmick.
But yep, Iron Sheik and Nikolai back together as a team for this.
Here comes Hacksaw Jim Duggan running down to the ring.
No, Duggan, yeah. Oh, yeah, he is. Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, Duggan wasn't on this card because Duggan. I can't remember when Duggan and Sheik got busted. If it was after this or before this, because I'm like, maybe a reason why he wasn't on the card was because, but Sheik's on the card, so I think their bust was after this.
I think it was after this.
But you think about it, if he's got this whole big thing, or he doesn't want Volkov to sing again and everything, why isn't it Duggan and some random babyface against Iron Sheik and Volkov?
Yeah. It's just funny how like you use a 2x4, a piece of wood, a 2x4 as Americana.
I know a lot of people like to denigrate Duggan and everything, but you know what? He's one of the
Duggan was a good
most
worker, man. I'm not
he's
gonna
one of the
lie.
most he's one of the most endearing and enduring characters in really all of wrestling history.
Yeah.
So here we go with the Killer Bees.
One of my faves back in the day.
Yep. Like we discussed last week, always underrated because they just never got a run with the tag belts.
Yeah. For whatever
Look
reason.
at all the stuff thrown in the ring. Jeez. I think some of us always like to think that people didn't start throwing shit in the ring until the NWO, and that's just not true.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not true.
Look at this. They're starting the match and there's still all this shit in the ring.
And it makes me wonder, like, what was the reason why the Killer Bees never got like that push? You know what I mean? Like, they're a good tag team.
Well, yeah, I think we talked about it a little last week. I think it's because they weren't as good as the Bulldogs, or they weren't as good as the Hart Foundation, or they liked Strike Force better, or they would like Demolition better. So it was like those were the teams that held the belts when the Killer Bees were together, really. So
And it's just weird. Like, I mean, yeah, they like them more, but like these guys were good too.
yeah,
These guys were just as good as all of them.
yeah. Brian Blair, as far as I know, was a pretty good friend of Hulk Hogan for pretty much his whole life because I think they both lived in Florida. Like, I'm pretty sure Brian Blair had worked primarily in Florida before he came to WWF. And yeah, I'm repeating myself from last weekend, but Jim Brunzell was AWI because he had teamed with Greg Gagne for years as the High Flyers.
Good looking physiques, have charisma, can work, can sell.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and again, like the similarities in their physiques and everything. That's why it's like whenever they would like do the masks thing, they do the switcheroo. it was always kind of funny because it's like it was a heel thing, definitely, but it's like they were just doing things that heels did before heels could do that to them, you kind of thing, you know?
And I'm just noticing, look what the killer bees are wearing.
What, the yellow and black striped tights?
No, no. Look at their feet.
Are there little bees on their boots? Is that what we're
They're
saying?
wearing Nikes.
Oh, okay. I couldn't even really tell.
They're wearing Jordans.
Are you sure? Those aren't boots?
No, those are Nikes, bro. Those look like Jordan 1s. Like legitimately.
Um, yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, from the long shots, they still look like wrestling boots, but then when you see them up close, yeah.
Yeah, those they might I can't tell if they're Jordan 1s, but because they look like they have a strap on the top of it, but they're definitely Nike high tops.
Yeah,
They're basketball sneakers.
people are still throwing shit. You know, it's
Yeah,
kind of
I just
amazing.
noticed that.
Okay, this show hasn't been as long as some other wrestling shows today. You know, we're still only like 2.5 hours into it, but the crowd's still pretty up for it. I mean, obviously they know
I'm
Hogan
trying to
Andre is
see
still
if
yet to
those
come.
are Jordan Air 1.
Yeah, it's like when you see him next to Nikolai and obviously Sheik's boots, you can tell that they're not boots. Yeah, yeah, because it's like they're wearing
And
like
those
the
have to be
sneakers and then
custom made
they're
because
both
I can
wearing
tell
like the
you
high
right.
socks. Then yeah,
Yeah, I could tell you those are have to be custom made because those were not sneakers that I don't that those aren't that's not a color scheme I remember in the mid 80s. I could be wrong, but I just don't remember that color scheme.
you think
I
maybe
wish I
they
can
just
get a
like ordered a
shot
couple.
of the back to see if those are Jordans or not, or the tongue.
I was gonna say, do you think maybe they just like ordered a couple pairs of them, and then like the you know, like the backstage people maybe just painted them?
I mean,
Would that have
it
been
could have,
possible?
but I don't think so because the heels are yellow, the soles are yellow.
So you think they were had to be custom? Okay.
They could have been, or unless they did sell that color scheme, I just don't remember. I really wasn't a sneakerhead until no, there's no logo on the back. The Nike swooshes go, they meet the ends meet at the back. I just can't see what the tongue says. If there's anything Jordan related on the tongue, or if it's just Nike. They could just be just high top Nike basketball sneakers too.
Yeah.
They could have been a color. I just don't remember the colors. Because you have to remember though too, because at that time when Jordan came out, you know, they had colored basketball sneakers, but they usually all were like white or black. You know, Jordan's kind of even then they came out with different colors back then.
Yeah.
Now this is gonna bother me.
You know what's Jesse Ventura just made reference to Jack Tunney, so I guess he was WWF president by this point. I don't know when he began being the on-screen WWF president, so still think WWF fucked that guy over, but you know. Duggan chasing Volkov around the ring as Sheiky Baby gets Brunzel into the Cobra Clutch, or the Camel Clutch, I'm sorry. Duggan in the ring with the 2x4, and yeah, I think I'll just hit the Iron Sheik. So that's a DQ in 5 minutes and 44 seconds.
So the Air Jordan 3s came out in 88, 87, 88. And they came in 4 different colorways, the originals. But still,
Yeah.
they're wearing they're wearing they're wearing Nikes. I've That's crazy. I never knew that. I never noticed that ever. And they do look like the Air Force Ones, but what was the rating Meltzer gave this one?
1.5 stars, which again doesn't feel unfair.
I would say 1.5 to 1.75.
Yeah.
And now, the match that we've all been waiting for.
The
Can
match
the
that's the match that sold the event.
can the immortal Hulk Hogan beat Andre the Giant, the eighth wonder of the world, the man who's never been body slammed? Ha ha! Another Jedi mind wipe. Wham! Right on the back of the Iron Sheik.
So it's interesting that we only have one match left, and the timer for me still says there's about 33 minutes left, which is interesting because obviously the last match doesn't go anywhere close to that.
Yeah.
Um, give one more interesting fact. It took a ton of convincing for Vince McMahon to get Andre the Giant to agree to the main event match at WrestleMania 30. Andre was 40 and in constant pain, his back and joints bearing weight that may as well have been as heavy as the world. Andre agreed to the plan ultimately and underwent radical back surgery to try and get him to the massive payday McMahon had promised. In the event Andre was unable to perform that night, or if Andre ultimately backed out, WWE had commissioned longtime Hogan villain Paul Orndorff to wait in the wings as a possible stand-in. It wouldn't have been the same as what we got, but Orndorff would have been as suitable a last resort as WWE could have possibly come up with, which is true. And of course, this
Yeah,
is like
pretty much.
Orndorff had turned heel between WrestleMania 2 and WrestleMania 3, and they'd done the big program with Hogan. They had the huge cage match on Saturday Night's Main Event. They had the huge match in Toronto, which drew like 60,000 people. So it probably would have worked. The problem is that you would have seen variations of it already. So it still wouldn't have been as big a deal as Hogan versus Andre.
Yeah. So are we doing like 15 minutes or 14 minutes or 10 minutes of like, let's rehash the story here?
Yeah. So here's when Hogan won the title from the first time because you could tell it's the old title belt there, and Andre pouring the champagne over Hogan. Yeah. Hogan's like, oh, brother, you got me, brother. It's burning my eyes, brother. Here's a Saturday Night's Main Event: Andre getting beat by Bundy and Studd. I couldn't tell who that was that Hogan ran past. It might have been Tony Atlas, but I couldn't tell. Maybe controversial thing, but I always thought, sometimes when I look at it, I think Hogan looked better in the white tights than in the yellow.
Mm,
I don't
I
know.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But he ultimately looked best in the black, brother.
He never wore black tights though. At least not when he turned heel. And it was,
Well, not the short ones, no.
yeah. Yeah. Andre walked out. You know what I'm talking to you? I'm here for one reason, to challenge you for a world championship match at WrestleMania. I love Jesse selling when Andre says I'm challenging you for a match. A lot of people a lot of people said that Hogan's greatest rival was not any of the guys he actually faced in the ring, but it was Bobby Heenan. And there is a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, you kind of look at it in a different light. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a great moment that when Piper says, "Will you accept?" and Hogan just screams, "Yeah!" The way they make it like echo then, and they show the crowd cheering for it. Yeah, that's a great moment. I
We
hate the
were
fact that
speaking
I
of,
hate that I kind of hate the fact that I still talk so glowingly about this guy when I grew to dislike him and disrespect him so much. But there's that childhood part of me that goes, "This is the guy who was my hero."
Well, I mean, it's just like any other sport, you know, the person that's within the sport does great things, and outside the sport in their personal life, they might not be the
Yeah, well, like
who they
I
seem to be, or not as much of that person
yeah,
you're hoping them to be.
yeah, well, like I'm going through this with the Giants right now. Like I don't know if you saw what Cam Scadaboo said about a week or so ago about like CTE and asthma, and he said like, oh, I was trying to be funny. I'm like, well,
Yeah, I just when you start talking about diseases, I don't want to say diseases, but when you start talking about health issues that are can take a toll on a person or a disease, and you start trying to use that as making a joke on a show or a podcast, even I don't even now, but say 20 years ago, still, if you're trying to use and try to use those type topics, I can't talk today. Use those type of topics to make jokes on a TV show or radio show. This isn't the 90s with Shock Jock and Howard
yeah.
Stern and all those
Hmm.
guys. Like that time's come and gone. Like just it's just unnecessary, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to, be like the edge lord, which I fucking hate that term. It's one of these
And
terms.
then his mom came back and defended him as like, oh, well, he's asked me for my inhaler or asked for a inhaler. And I'm like, well, listen, I have asthma. It's not a joke, man. People have died from asthma. So like it's not
No,
something to make fun of.
there was a you're gonna laugh at this, but there was a adult film star that I know of who I always thought was really good looking, and she had really wonderful breasts. Uh, she died of an asthma attack.
Yeah.
I read that about her like some years ago, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking terrible. It's like, I've luckily never had. I have asthma, but I've never really had like attacks. I've always had like what I call like a low level asthma, but yeah, but anyway, as far as like him trying to ever downplay CTE, it's like I don't know. Maybe you should talk to the families of Mike Webster, Justin Shrelzik, or Dave Duerson, or Andre Waters, or Junior Seau. Before you start saying
Yeah.
shit like that. Um,
Yeah. It was just in poor taste. And I'm
yeah,
sorry, like I think the host of the show was just ridiculous for bringing the topics up in that manner to you.
yeah.
That was bullshit.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, you're on my team. I want to like you. I want to root for you. And it's like I already got to deal with the fact that I know that Jackson Dart thought Charlie Kirk was great. So it's like, could you not act like, hey, there's Jack Lanza helping Mary Hart into the ring.
Oh yeah.
Funny to see him in a suit. But
Yeah, very true.
but seriously, it's like, so like, look, I know you guys have opinions on whatever that I despise. Can you
She's
please just
checking out
maybe
the turnbuckles to make sure they work.
Yeah, can you please just maybe keep them to yourself so that I can just, root for you as a football player, which is what I really,
Yeah.
really want to do.
It is also challenging when, you find things out about like athletes or sports figures that you've admired for a lot of years might not be the greatest person outside this in their personal lives.
Yeah.
And and then that is where, not saying you in general, but
No, I know what you mean.
you as a fan in general have to either decide if you're going to distinguish that person all in one, or if you're going to separate their sports career from their personal life.
Yeah. So
Some can, some cannot.
Andre coming down to the ring here, and
Shit just bouncing off. Oh, he just got hit in
well,
the
it's
head.
almost like, has he understood that he has turned heel? Because he's like waving to the crowd, and of course Andre did have a great connection with the crowd, but it's almost as like he's forgotten that he's turned heel.
Yeah. Like, dude,
Like they're not
you
going to
just
cheer for
went
you.
against the Hulkster,
They're
brother.
not going to cheer for you. You betrayed the Hulkster, and they are literally throwing shit at you.
Yeah.
And this was pretty much the debut, as far as I know, of the one strapped black singlet that he always wore. Well, wore from
Oh
this
yeah.
point on. And of course, the main reason that he did that was because it was hiding the back brace that he was wearing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he couldn't wear the like just the regular tights anymore.
I feel so bad for him though. His growth issue that he had, put him in the spot that he was in pro wrestling and made him a beloved figure or a beloved person. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's just sad that how much pain he was in because of it as he
Yeah,
got older and everything.
and what I've always heard is that he could have had procedures done that would have like slowed it, but he didn't want to because he wanted to be Andre the Giant. So it was like a curse. It was a curse of genetics, that he couldn't
Yeah.
you couldn't do anything about. But then it was also like a curse of choice in a way. Yep. So the only two guys who did not ride the carts down, Piper and Hogan.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Well, I mean, again, when he's the champion, and everything it definitely makes him look stronger when he's willing to walk down the that long
Yeah.
aisle.
Thanks for the measurements of Hogan there, Jesse.
Yeah, I know. Well, he gave the Andres measurements, so it was like,
It's just kind of funny though. 30-inch calves. Da, 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 da.
look at all the flash bulbs. That's another thing that just don't get today with the everybody having a camera on their phones.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the many things that kids today just aren't going to understand. But of course, my sister the other day gave me a see if I can find this text message she sent. Because she's a teacher, as you know, she teaches seventh and eighth grade. Um,
Oh, yes. What a great age group she has with those years.
well, yeah. So,
They're like preteens and turning 13 and all that shit. And oh God, those kids are all in all. I shouldn't say they're not all a mess, but a lot of them start getting into the messy shit.
oh no, she didn't. She didn't text it. She posted it on Facebook. Shoot. Let's see if I can find it on her Facebook. Because again, it's a lamentable situation as far as like the way kids are, and I won't even say that it's necessarily their fault, but it's disturbing that they think this way. So Hogan goes for the slam super early. Andre collapses on top of him. And Hogan, of course, has always tried to say that he barely kicked out. And he did kind of barely kick out, mostly because Andre didn't give.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Okay,
Probably because
so
he wasn't able to. That's the other
yeah,
problem.
well, right, right. So this is what my sister posted. Today, a seventh grade student asked me, why do we even need to go to school? Because we have a calculator on our phones, and also our phone can pretty much read anything to us. And if we wanted to learn new words, we could access a dictionary on our phones too. Look,
Yeah.
yeah, and as she goes on, I'm not going to read everything she posted because it's really mostly just about what the kid said. School doesn't just teach you facts and how to do something. It also, or well, I mean, they do teach you how, obviously, but they're also teaching you why, and they're trying to teach you about learn how to do this so you can apply it to that, which is something that I think a lot of people seem to miss. And so every time like parents get like they
Mhm.
get objected to what their kids are being taught in school, I'm like, well, what are you going to teach them? You're going to teach them the way that you do things. That's fine and all, but you know what? They need to know more.
Yeah. I still think sorry, we're getting off topic with this, but I still think the school system needs to be like really revamp what they're really teaching kids. Because I think
Yeah.
once they get to the high school level, they really should be teaching them like a lot of stuff about life.
Well, yeah,
Like,
my sister basically still says about how like they're always like teaching to the test and everything. I mean, the fucking No Child Left Behind Act did so much, I think, to hurt education in this country because they created all these standards and then they said that you know prepare to this test and we got to get the test scores up and it's like the fucking test scores are irrelevant. So it's like okay, we rank behind these countries in this that and that. It's like yeah, I get it. That's a problem. So how is teaching to a test going to help?
yeah, very much so.
And then, of course, Trump is just destroying the Department of Education, but that's a different story altogether. So, oh, but not until you remember who the Secretary of Education is.
Leads into professional wrestling, folks. Damn, like he just lifted Hogan up by the tights pretty easily there.
Yeah, I mean, he is when he body slammed him, he looked like he had to put like no effort into it. I mean, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just been dominating this match ever since Hogan went for the body slam and didn't get it. So,
I mean, rightfully so. That's the way they had it. That's the way this match had to be booked. There was no other way.
right, because the whole thing was like, and this is what precipitated the feud in the first place. They were on
Not
Piper's
just because
Pit.
it's heel versus face, it's because the heel's Andre and his issues.
Well, right, and the thing that started the whole thing when they were on Piper's Pit, and like they're both being presented a trophy. Hogan was being given a trophy for being WWF champion for 3 years, and Andre was given a trophy for being undefeated for 10 years, and Hogan's trophy was bigger. And Hogan like took over the segment, so Andre got pissed and walked out, and that was how like, it all started. But think about it, yeah. So it wasn't just that yeah, like you said, Hogan's the face and Andre's the heel. It's that Andre's undefeated for 10 years. Andre can't be beaten,
Yeah.
even by Hogan, who's been champion for 3 years.
Yep.
I
I
mean,
don't know
like
how much punishment can the champion take, Jesse.
yeah, and so this is the thing. They always had to have Hogan working against monsters once he got really done with the feuds with Piper and Orndorff. It was like you got to look with how huge Hogan is. You got to have somebody huger, you know, for him to work against, where it makes it look like you know somebody could be a threat to him. So that's why you had Bundy. That's why you had Andre. That's why you had Big John Studd when he would wrestle him. That's why you later would have Akeem and the Big Boss Man. You know, and then
Yep.
Earthquake. You know, it's like it's got to be somebody who makes it looks like a Hogan can't physically overpower. As good as his feuds with guys like Orndorff and DiBiase and Savage were.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Hogan can't be the underdog against those guys because he's bigger than
Yeah.
those guys.
Even Ultimate Warrior, and Ultimate Warrior was like physically, like physique wise, I guess you would say bigger, but in a certain aspect. But Hogan was still like the bigger dude. But
Right.
Ultimate
But
Warrior worked because he was more physically dominantly looking. You know what I mean? He
oof,
was the
the
guy who was like
Bigfoot.
cut and ripped and everything.
Yeah, and they were they were booked as being evenly matched. Like that Warrior could go toe to toe with Hogan because he had that body, he had that physique, he was Intercontinental Champion. It's like
Yeah.
he's, you know, he may not be like world champion, but you know, you could credibly sell that he's on equal footing with Hogan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, this will be interesting. Let me see if I can find it here because I was kind of blown away when I saw this because I had no idea about it.
The bear hug. Andre's
Ju-
like, I was going to lean against your brother. Just stand right there.
Ju- Julia says she actually peed a lot after Tiffany Stratton's spot on SmackDown. Did you see that clip I showed you? Tiffany did a swanton and she did not hit it right. She like landed full force on top of Julia.
Oh no, I didn't get you. I
Yeah, I
went
sent
to
that
click
video
on it
clip
and I
in our group
forgot.
chat. I'm like, that's a botch because Tiffany just didn't hit it right.
Let me watch it now as I'm watching this.
They've already split up Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. Okay.
Oh yeah, she was short on that, and her like ass and back like just hit
Well,
Julia right in the midsection.
the way Jeff Hardy would do it, he would always jump and flip and pretty much land mostly over the guy. She lands full force on him and she flipped like way late.
Someone goes, Tiff does it, and it's Tiff does it, and it's a botch. Jeff Hardy's been crushing people for years, and nobody says a word.
I don't ever recall seeing Jeff Hardy do it to somebody like that, though. Maybe I just have missed ones, but yeah. Oh, here we go. So the other day, March 24th, there was a house show at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on March 24th, 1990, where Hulk Hogan teamed up with the Big Boss Man to take on the Colossal Connection, which was Andre the Giant and Haku. And that's when the
Yeah.
Colossal, this was like a week before WrestleMania 6. So Hogan's still WWF champion. Boss Man has only just turned face. And the Colossal Connection, of course, are the tag champions. But I had no idea this match existed. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to, it was the last time Hogan and Andre were ever in the ring together.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, because Andre was pretty
This is
much done
weird.
after
Like
WrestleMania 6.
this
So.
bear hug went on for a couple minutes, bro.
Oh, yeah. Might have been
That's probably the
excessive even,
longest
but
bear hug I've ever seen in a wrestling
might have been
match.
excessive even by late 80s standards. Yeah. Andre still got to
Like
hold
that
on his
was a legit
tights.
like 3 minutes of bear hug time.
Yeah.
Then with the Poon Hulkster goes flying through the middle of the ropes out to the outside, and there goes Andre chasing after him.
Oof, Andre
Yeah,
getting
you can kind of see the back brace on Andre.
yeah, Andre's kick there that knocked Hogan to the outside. It didn't really hit. Oh yeah, you can see it peeking out there. Yeah. See, and it also couldn't have been very comfortable to wrestle with that brace on. I remember years
No,
ago
but
when
I
I
would
when I
probably
was still
say with all the back pain he was in, it probably felt better.
well, I remember years ago when I was in marching band in high school. One of the band mothers bought like back braces for us drummers to wear to like to help, cut down. I remember put the thing on and I couldn't fucking breathe in the goddamn thing. But they kept insisting that I wear it. I think I wore it once or twice, and I said, I'm never wearing this thing again. I said, I'll deal with the back pain because otherwise I can't fucking breathe when I'm carrying this goddamn drum. So I was like, what was Hogan going to do? Go for a pile driver on the floor? And again, why was Morella allowing this? But oof.
Why were
Morella,
we trying to, who came up with the spot that we were gonna
yeah.
which one of them decided, hey Andre, I know I can't do this, but let's pretend that I'm gonna pow drive you
And then that was a
on the
very weak
outside.
backdrop as well. It's I don't know if it was that Hogan didn't want to take the bump, which again I can understand, or if it was Andre didn't want to just drop Hogan on his back on the floor.
I don't really know it has. I think it's more of like it didn't look good because of Andre's back issue, and Hogan's trying to like kind of get up to get over, but it's not going to look good because of Andre.
Yeah.
It's like
And
no
then
one's fault. It's just the fact that it's like
yeah. And
not
then
a good. I don't know. They could have done something else instead of that spot.
Andre went for the kick, missed it again. Hogan goes to the clothesline, and Andre tumbles to the mat. And now Hogan is hulking up. And then here it comes. But again, that was not
Cue
the
the
first
music,
time
brother.
Andre had ever been body slammed.
What was that?
I love hooking the leg, which is like,
You try to use two hands to pull his leg up.
yeah. But I mean, not only was this not the first time that Andre the Giant had been body slammed, it wasn't the first time Hulk Hogan had body slammed Andre the Giant.
I know.
When
One of the things people don't
In
know.
Hogan's first WWF run, I think it might have even been at their famous match at Shea Stadium in 1980. Hogan slammed Andre during that match when Andre was the face and Hogan was the heel. Okay, so there's another disagreement in the Meltzer star ratings on this. One of the sites claims that Meltzer gave this one star. I know that's a lie for another reason. Um, Meltzer gave this match -4 stars. And the reason why I know that the -4 stars one is accurate is because this match won worst match of the year, or what they still, or when he said, or as he still called it, worst worked match of the year, in the annual newsletter awards for 1987.
I wonder how much he knew how injured
I don't think it would
Andre
have
was.
mattered. I really, because if he was so plugged in as he always claims he was, he should have known that. But I think it
Yeah.
was really more just that, he didn't Meltzer was never a fan of Hogan. And I think Meltzer just like didn't care for Andre once like Andre was at this point where like, he was just so physically hobbled, you know.
Yep.
I know that's been a source of controversy too. It's not just the fact that he didn't give Savage Steamboat 5 stars, but how poorly he rated this. I love Heenan selling. Oh my God, I can't believe we didn't win. Um, but I know a lot of people have criticized Meltzer's rating for this, because it's like this was never meant to be a work rate match. This was meant to be the spectacle match and blah blah blah. It's obviously not a great match, but
No.
I don't think
-4 stars is ridiculous.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I think 2 stars feels kind of about right because it provides the moments where it's like Hogan looks like he's gonna lose. He does get the big body slam, so he does have the big moments and everything. Um, and again, this is the match that sold the show. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm between 1.5 and 2, to be honest. That's where I
yeah,
kind
I'm
of
never going to try to
sit
say
with
this was
this.
a great match or anything, but again, it's like there, there is obviously a lot of historical significance to it. So,
Yeah, yeah. 100%.
and of course, the funny thing about this is that the feud between Hogan and Andre was far from over. They basically keep feuding for another pretty much year and a half until like all the way through the SummerSlam '88 match of the Mega Powers against the Mega Bucks. You know,
Yeah. That's right. I still have 6.5 minutes on here, and it's just kind of like Hogan, he leaves, and then Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura like recap the night, and they're showing highlights from the night.
yeah, it's like that's not the these days now. It's like the way they do the shows now. The show would be going, off the air here, and we'd be cutting to the post show stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it here. I'm good with this.
So WrestleMania 3 definitely an improvement over WrestleMania 2 and over WrestleMania 1. It's like
Oh,
you still
absolutely.
it probably doesn't compare to a lot of other WrestleManias like I mentioned WrestleMania 17 before, and I think WrestleMania 19 is also was also a really good WrestleMania that I think a lot of people kind of forget was a really good WrestleMania. Um,
Yeah.
like if you were to rank all the WrestleManias now, I'm not even so sure this would make top five, to be honest. Um,
No, it wouldn't.
but again, this was kind of like the apex that they reached, I think, for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like this is the start. Like after
yeah,
watching the first three now, this is the one that kind of like ups the ante as far as the look, the production, the camera work. Um, they did a better job, starting the show. You had your celebrities still, but not an abundance of them. So we're getting
no, it
all of them
was
on.
it was Bob Uecker and Mary Hart and Alice Cooper, and
Yeah. So
none of them really. I mean, I wasn't hearing all the stuff on commentary, but none of them really got in the way.
no, nope, they didn't. No, they definitely did not. So that, that's a good thing. That's a good aspect in regards to it. 100%. So,
This is great. Hogan is leaving in like a supercar. It's like higher than all the other ones were.
yeah, I noticed that. I turned it off by now.
I
But
know,
yeah,
but
I
I'm
did
just like,
notice
hey,
that.
he's the conquering champion and everything. It's like, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, give him the higher chariot to come back to the backstage for. But yeah, I mean, it's overall it was a good pay-per-view. Um, it was the third one. Like I said, it starts some momentum from for better everything,
Yeah.
production, all that stuff I just mentioned
Yeah.
earlier.
And
So
you
it's the
had,
start.
you had, I can't remember now because it's been a few weeks since we watched WrestleMania 1. I feel like the MSG crowd was pretty much into it. The crowds at
Yeah,
WrestleMania 2 were kind of eh. This crowd was
yeah.
great. This crowd was into the whole
Oh
night.
yeah, this crowd was awesome.
Yeah.
Like they listen, they're they were pretty much involved in every single match.
They stayed hot for the whole night.
Yeah, they did. They legit were hot the whole night. They're throwing trash at the at the
Yeah, they're throwing trash
heels.
at the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov in the penultimate match, which is such a meaningless match.
Yes. So they were engaged. And it's one of the very few pay-per-views, well, I would just say WrestleManias, where the fans have been engaged from the start all the way till the end.
Yeah. I mean,
We
I'll
know
never forget if
nowadays that's hard because it's 2 nights, all that shit. But even before that,
yeah. And I'll never forget, of course, WrestleMania 35. I mean, that was, and again, that's never going to happen again quite like that because that was the last one night WrestleMania. But, I was starting to doze off during the main event match, and I legitimately missed the pin in the main event because I was kind of going like, at that point,
yeah,
and because
let's
it happened
listen.
so suddenly and everything, it's about,
But it did. But nonetheless, that WrestleMania 2 had its highs and lows.
oh yeah.
The crowd
With
was out for a
WrestleMania
little
2,
bit,
like
and
I
then it sizzled down for a little while, then get out again for a couple things. But
yeah, I mean with the WrestleMania 2, Brian Zane in his review on Wrestling with Regret on YouTube, he said like, "Wow, the New York crowd really got the short end of the stick on this one," and they kind of did. Like the match quality on that card kind of improved as the show went on. Like I think the New York portion of that show was easily the weakest portion.
yeah,
Um, and not to say there weren't bad matches on the other because there were. The women's title match in Rosemont and the Adrian Adonis Uncle Elmer match in LA were both pretty weak, but yeah.
no, I agree. I agree. And that match was 12 minutes and 1 second. Hmm,
So let me just do this real quick because I think this is kind of interesting.
okay.
So other than the one-off wrestling classic, the only other uh pay-per-view, like that was the only other pay-per-view that WWE had done other than WrestleMania until that November, when they did Survivor Series. So, how many guys on the WrestleMania 3 card would be on the initial Survivor Series card in 1987? Which was 6 months later. Well, no, 8 months later. Um, Rick Martel, yes. Tom Zank, no. Bob Orton, no. Don Morocco, yes. Mr. Fuji, yes. Yeah, because he was managing Demolition. Billy Jack
Mhm.
Haynes, no. Hercules, yes. Bobby Heenan, yes. Hillbilly Jim, he was not on the Survivor Series 87 card, but he was still with the company because he was in the
Okay.
1988 Royal Rumble, so he had to be. King Kong Bundy, no. And none of the midget wrestlers were on the Survivor Series card. Harley Race, yes. Junkyard Dog, no. He wasn't on the Survivor Series 87 card, but he was still with the company. Fabulous Moolah was still there too. In fact, now Fabulous Moolah was a face um,
Oh
in the
God.
women's Survivor Series match that they did in 1987. So yeah. Uh, Greg Valentine, yes. Brutus Beefcake, yes. The Rougeos, yes. Dino Bravo, yes. I don't remember if Johnny Valiant was still around though.
They dubbed WrestleMania 4 the 4 hour spectacular.
Oh boy, yeah. Roddy Piper, no, because of course he went away. Adrian Adonis, no. Jimmy Hart was still there, yes. Danny Davis and the Hart Foundation were still there. Tito Santana and the British Bulldogs were still there. Butch Reed, yes. Slick, yes. Coco Beware, yes. Though he wasn't. Coco Beware actually wasn't on the Survivor Series '87 card, but he would have still been with the company. Ricky Steamboat, yes. George Steele, not on the card, still with the company. Savage, yes. Elizabeth, yes. Honky Tonk Man, yes. Jake Roberts, yes. Iron Sheik, no. And I think he might have been gone then. Volkov, yes. The Killer Bees were still there. Hogan and Andre were still there. So most of the roster, the guys who were on WrestleMania 3 were still around a few months later. But by the time you get to Survivor Series '87, you've also added guys like Bam Bam Bigelow. Ken Patera comes back. Demolition becomes a thing. Um, Somebody else I was thinking of, and now I'm blanking on. Shoot. Oh, Ted DiBiase's there, though he wasn't on the Survivor Series '87 card. That was he was obviously a big catalyst when he came in. So,
Yeah.
oh, and Ravishing Rick Rude was also joined the company at that by the time of Survivor Series. That's who I was trying to think of.
Oh, that's right. WrestleMania 4 was the tournament. Oh
Yep.
boy.
Yeah, WrestleMania 4.
16 matches.
WrestleMania 4 is a bit of a slog because the tournament kind of bogs things down. Uh, and the only matches you have other than the tournament matches, you've got a 20-man battle royal, you've got the Ultimate Warrior against Hercules, an Intercontinental title match of the Honky Tonk Man against Brutus Beefcake, a six-man tag
Six-man
match of
tag.
Coco Beware and the British Bulldogs against the Islanders and Bobby Heenan, and then a
And the
tag
tag
title
title
match
match.
between Strike Force and Demolition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you've got one of the tournament matches is Jake Roberts against Rick Rude, which should have been a really good match, especially because I think they had been feuding by that point. That match goes to a 15-minute time limit draw. It's the longest match of the night, and it's terrible from what everybody tells me. It's been so long since I've watched this that I don't remember.
Yeah. This one I've watched. I watched live, of course, and I watched back one other time. That's it. So a lot of this I don't really remember until I start watching it. It's
Yeah,
weird how this tournament we have a double a draw where one man gang gets a bye, and then later on, Hogan and Andre get a double DQ, and
well,
Ted
yeah,
DiBiase gets a bye.
yeah. So yeah, one man gang got a bye because the Jake Rude match went to a time limit draw. Hogan and Andre had a bye into the quarterfinal, and then they get double DQ'd, which gave DiBiase a bye from the quarterfinal to the final. So that of course made it more significant that Savage was the only guy who had to wrestle 4 matches to actually win the belt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. But all right, that was I mean, watching that back, that was overall. I enjoyed the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's really hard to dislike WrestleMania 3 on the whole. So
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I mean, some of the matches, yeah, it is what it is, but it's still we're still in the 80s and we're still seeing how they do things with certain matches in the 80s, so it is what it is. Like it or not. It's the fact of the matter. That's what they did back in the day. But yeah, so that was good.
yep.
Then at some point we got to make a little bit more time or start a little bit earlier or figure out how we're going to do the next one because that's a 4 hours, 4 hours of wrestling, dude.
That might be a one depending upon your availability. Like if we know ahead of time Jeremy can't go Sunday morning or whatever, that might be one we might want to do Saturday night. That's up to you.
Yeah, we could do something when we started on us. Maybe you started and finish it on a Saturday night or something. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna
But yeah.
make WrestleMania 4 a 2-night event.
It's gonna be a Saturday night and a Sunday morning, brother. That's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll figure that out because we know as these WrestleManias go on, some of them will be longer, so we're gonna have to, you know, figure some of that shindig stuff out for sure. Um, in regards to it. So, but yeah, this has been fun. I like doing this stuff. It's fun to like relive and see like some of the craziness that happened at these WrestleManias too. So always a good thing. But all right then, fans, this will be posted during the week. Click, like, subscribe, leave comments. Let us know what you thought of WrestleMania 3. Don't be shy.
Leave comments. Tell me how bad I'm doing. I won't read them.
I'll read them and let Pat know. Don't worry.
There's a reason I won't read them. It's not because
Yes,
I don't
indeed.
appreciate the feedback. It's because I don't want to get stupidly negative about it. That's all.
Oh, you'll be fine. All right, then. As our
And I
great,
don't want positive feedback to go to my head. So
yes, as our third wheel would say, um, our third wheel, third missing wheel. I hope you had fun, and I hope you finished with us.